Well, I think we're live, Denny. So, Merry Christmas to you and Bah Humbug. That's all
Yeah,
I got to say about the whole bloody thing.
yeah. And ain't there no workhouses for the bloody lot of you or what? Oh, dear.
So let me just mimic something. There we go. So I don't know if you heard that noise there. That's because I'm monitoring and everything. But welcome everybody as well. Okay, it's going to be a bit of a moan fest, but we hope we're going to have a bit of fun with it. That's all. We had a great time doing the Doctor Who stuff that we decided, yes, we'll do one before Christmas because I think we're going to continue with some TV stuff in the new year. But we thought, what's the best way to end this year? I know, bloody moan about Christmas. That's the best way to do it. I've got a Christmas Santa hat and I say this to it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I say to it. Bloody put it over there. Fed up with the bloody sight of it. Denny, what have you got to say about Christmas?
Christmas. I used to love Christmas. Love it. As you was growing up, it was still a nice holiday to have. Family, friends, going out at work. And then you've got these people now in charge of companies that want to get every last drop of breath out of your body to work over Christmas, so nobody gets any Christmas break. I can remember the time that Christmas, I don't know whether you remember it, the same as me, that everything used to shut down for 2 weeks. And I mean, 2 weeks, literally, everybody used to ram all the supermarkets, fill the trolleys up, because if you hadn't got no food, you haven't got nothing to eat. Yes. So yeah, that's one thing I miss. I think you talk about commercialisation.
Yeah.
I don't think it's nothing to do with commercialisation now. As I said to somebody who worked for a certain place, even Bob Cratchit had the day off from Scrooge, and you can't even give them the day off. So that's how things are gone now, and I think it's pathetic, really, that companies across, everywhere can't give the staff at least a couple of days off over Christmas at least, and the New Year to celebrate with the families. But I know times are hard. But
I mean, when I think back to it, my father did have a 2-week break. He worked in a factory. It was General Foods, which is now called Kraft Jacob Suchard. And he worked in the custard part of the factory. And basically, he was a union rep as well, and he was a forklift driver. And he always got 2 weeks off. I don't know. Do you know what? That factory has now shut down another part of the plant, by the way, just this year. Apparently, they're going to a more desirable location abroad since Brexit. Believe it or not. Don't want to bring Brexit into this sort of things, but that's just another little thing. But I have to think of these things and go, yeah, but it wasn't. I don't think everybody had 2 weeks off. I think even when I was working for Lloyd's Bank, I worked till Christmas Eve. When I worked, somebody's microphone. Can you hear the echo?
No, I'm on.
No, okay. Well, I'm hearing through the headset, so it shouldn't be picking up anything. I think people who work in shops always have. I think people that are on emergency services as well. That's something. But I think the 2-week break was something for definite. Yeah. And when it comes to commercialization, I've just asked my mother. I said, Mum, do you think it's more commercial this year, or do you think it was more commercial when I was a kiddie, And the only thing she had to say about any of that was she always felt under pressure to get me something nice, and there was a lot of adverts for toys. But she does think it's more commercial now. And I said, well, give me an example. She said, well, we never had adverts like Debenhams and Marks and Spencer's with these big, long adverts. And I said, but what about Woolworths? And she said, yeah, but they had one long advert they showed per week, and then they cut it down into little segments.
Yeah.
And I went, oh yeah, I forgot about that. It wasn't always the long one they showed. It was little segment stuff. So that's my two answers to those. And just before we go any further, I think we ought to say hi to a few people that have already left some comments. Might as well, might we? So let's have a little look. We've got gaming since the 70s. Now that's my mate Steve, who I have to do my salute to. Sorry, my salute to. He says, "You're late. You're both fired. Thanks." Hey, we get a 2-week break. We're off now. Look, it's just been fired. Thanks very much, Steve. That's what the sort of moaning we like.
Yeah, that's the manager. I like that. He's suspended
the manager.
We'll come back.
Thanks for that. And then we've got gaming since the 70s again. 70s Christmas was the best. Great toys, great food, Morecambe and Wise, the two Ronnies on the TV. Absolutely. It was epic. And yeah, I think we'll get to decades and the changes and all of that, because the one thing I'm struggling with right now is the pinpoint where Christmas didn't work for me, whether it was something to do with TV, commercialization. I'm still struggling. I've got an idea, but I think at the end of this, I'll have a better one. So then we've got Ian Batchelor. He said, every bad driver who doesn't touch a car all year suddenly appears on the roads. I've left my car outside my house. I'm walking till Boxing Day. And the only answer I've got to that is to say that you're going to smash into your car. Have you seen the wing mirrors and everything when you're walking past these things these days? They're all knocked off. So don't want to be a sad case for you, Ian, but I might move it off of the road if you can. I don't think that's going to stop anyone. And Merry Christmas to you, Ian. Who we got now? Doug Scullery. Hi, fellas.
All right, Doug.
Hi, fellas. Hi to you as well, Doug. What else we got here? We got Merry Humbug. I think that's probably going to be the catchphrase, isn't it? When we used to have lovely catchphrases through the years. What else? Cy Robson. Evening. Eyesight. Then we got Bah Humbug. I think we're going to have that as a catchphrase, definitely for this particular stream. Doug says, Crimbo question, what's the best film version of Scrooge? Now we're going to come back to that in a minute, because I'm trying to catch up with all of the comments. And then we've got Ian just saying LOL. So do you want to answer that, or should we answer it? Should we remember it and come back to it? Because that's talking about movies, and we've only just sort of like touched upon.
Let me just put, I've got a complete page full of movies on here, so and that's one of them. Yeah.
Right.
I just want to say about Christmas, you're saying about over commercialisation. For me, year on year, I've seen a complete erosion of Christmas, bit by bit by bit, till it has come fully commercialised, fully commercialised. But have you noticed, wherever you go, shops, I haven't heard one carol amongst any shopping centres I've been there. Decorations are thinner than, I don't know, Bruce Forsyth toupee. I haven't seen anything like that. There's just no feeling of Christmas whatsoever this year. It's completely vanished. And that's
would you think that might be because shops are starting earlier each year with Christmas? They always say that the adverts start earlier, and I have to say that I first started to see the adverts just at the end of November, and I must admit they put the stock out for Christmas but not the tinsel out very, very early. Then the tinsel came out, and the only carols I heard, I must admit, have not been in the town centres, and I have been into the town centre. There's very little Christmas cheer, and Sainsbury's is the only music where I've heard Christmas tunes playing in the background over the tannoy system. Do you know what I mean? And they're those horrible, not proper versions as well. The
cover versions are awful,
Covery type versions.
Just one question though, was anybody seen the Coca-Cola van on the television? That was a staple for years and years and years. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it at all this year. It's just as though, it's just a complete erosion of Christmas. I wonder whether this is a thing they do. They call it Winter's Day now, and stuff like that. I don't really want to go back onto that wagon, but to me, this is how it's been eroded. The most special time of the year. I loved it as a kid and growing up, but
Yeah.
It feels like it's July, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a funny feeling that a lot of it is money, a lot of it is politics. I do think a lot of it is starting too early. And, you know, it's a sign of the times a little bit. You know, I know that people were moaning about it very, 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 very early. I made a Christmas joke actually at work. We have a team meeting every Monday. And I said, anybody want me to do the countdown like I do every year of how many days it is till Christmas? I said, don't mention that bloody word. All of this sort of stuff. And I was going, oh, all right. I used to make people laugh when I used to say, you know, it's like 125 days till Christmas. And they said, oh, bloody hell, I'll be fed up with it when it comes to 30 days till Christmas. And I'm going, yeah, it's a sort of like sign of the times. I can tell about this going right now. And I must admit at work, nobody got really talking about Christmas until pretty much the week before I went on break. So that was 2 weeks before Christmas. That's when people started to think about it, I think. And maybe that's a lot, what a lot of people do. We've got some more messages just before we go any further. So hold that thought, Denny, because they're all going off the page if I don't keep up with this. The next one we got is, well, Ian says, for me, Christmas started to go pants around 83, 84. Well, I think we're going to come back to sort of like where it was, but it's an interesting one. I think that might be a bit early for me, 83, 84. Yeah. I was at secondary school, but I can imagine that might be for, you know, depending on your age or your circumstance, I think, with that one. Definitely for me, I was at secondary school, so it'll be a bit later, but not by much. Not by much from my thinking at the moment. I'm not quite sure about the 90s. The 90s for me was going out and getting pissed. So, so I'm not quite sure. So we'll have to keep that one in mind. Okay. They're all going off the page, but yeah. Steve's got Doug, for me, it's the Scrooge musical about Albert Finney. Yeah, we'll come across Scrooge in a bit. Yeah, come back to it. Not a problem. Oh, we got Ian. Ian the Hill Ramblings. Now, bloody Ian, I've just got a simple message to you. I can't keep up with your videos. 1 or 2 a day. Bloody hell. What are you trying to do? Kill me? I've got glasses for a reason because I watch too much, right? And then through that word anking, right? It's from watching YouTube. So what's he got to say? Hi, Craig and Denny. Good to see you here. I remember my dad was given half a day off on Christmas Eve. In the afternoon. He would go and buy my mum a present, last minute Christmas shopping. Yeah, I bet you any money my dad did the same thing, because although it was a 2-week shutdown, it would have been just before and then going back after New Year, probably by a couple of days, because it depended on shift as well, because he could have been on nights or days, or even 6 till 2 and 2 till 10 they had shifts. So I can appreciate that. Keep that in your mind, Denny, if you want to come back to that one. Sire's put, I love the Albert Finney version of Scrooge. It looks like that Albert Finney is going to be quite that when we're going to about that. Mark's here. Yes, Mark. Lovely. Love seeing your gaming. You did another bloody long play. I've got to try and keep up, but I want to play that Draconis myself. Just a quick blurb to any of you guys out there. Some of these people we're reading out have got channels. Gaming since the 70s, definitely sub. Ian the Hill, the Ramblings, definitely sub. 20th Century Gaming, gotta love him. Sub him. I can't say any more than that. All the likes, all that sort of stuff. You can't go wrong. Snippets of laughter, you know, through a very dark period like this winter that we've got. Ian then continues, my mum seemed to be in the kitchen all the time, the same on Christmas Day. We're going to bring up traditions for the definite. I can see that one. David, retro games played badly. Hello, matey. And you even got a mention on This Week in Retro, my friend. Well done. One of the presenters there saw your video, and it was about The Last Resort on the Neo Geo. So he got some enjoyment out of you. Hello, chaps. Apologies I missed the start. Yeah, you're sacked.
Del.
Miserable bastard.
Del.
Yes.
Is he at work? That's what we got to know.
Yeah, David, are you this workaholic where you're sort of like playing hooky and sort of like listening to this on the sly or something? Because if we are, we'll try and keep it down. I can't promise. All right. Ian, I've got to remember what Ian said because Ian's put I was 13. Oh, that was between 1984 and 85. So same sort of age as me. So yeah, very early one, Ian. I want you to elaborate on that in a minute. We're caught up with the texts. Anything you want to elaborate on there? It's going quite fast on there,
I think
and
we missed
I
one
do
by.
apologise.
Yeah, I think we missed one by Doug Del.
Yeah, but I didn't want to go too far. But there's about 2 comments at the bottom, and
Okay.
I've sort of like left it there. Unless you want me to read that one out, then here we go. Loving this. Thanks, fellas, for doing it. Settling in for a nice bit of retro nostalgia, and you will be getting that.
Yeah.
I can tell you that now. And David said, "Yeah, I'm working."
He works more than me.
Well, shock surprise, shock surprise. I just said shock surprise. That's all I've got to say about that. We used to know somebody at work who said that. He used to say shock surprise, shock surprise. I've just said shock surprise because you got to be shocked because he said shock surprise. Round. He used to drive me batty. There was another person at work who used to come in and said, "I love Mondays, so much more of the week left." You just wanted to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I love Mondays as well, you bastard. You know, some of us like to have a home life. You know what I mean? He didn't really quite understand the sentiment of it. But anyway, you got to say some things now, Denny. Bloody hell, while I have my commercialised drink, look.
I think everything's been said that's been said, you know.
There are other drinks available.
Yeah.
I have to get that out of the way.
Yeah, that should be done. Yeah, nothing really more to add, really, Del, to be honest. I think I need to said all I needed to say at the beginning there. It's just certain things that annoy me now, you know, how things have been took away from us. And it doesn't look like they'll be ever coming back. This is the new future for us all, I think. And it's upsetting, really. It really is upsetting.
What do you think of modern kiddies then? Would they want it to change? I mean, we're not of that age, but I haven't. I mean, we've got my cousin's got a little lad called Lane. Only 5 years old. He came here and he was saying a couple of days till Christmas, so he looked like he was quite excited. Now, I will say that he is a bit spoiled. Right? You know, why not? That's my cousin for you. Loves her kiddie, spoils, right? But I'm the same as you know, but I'm that much older, and I remember the stuff as it was in the 70s and 80s, which we'll touch upon. So, what when you were talking about there was no Salvation Army or playing the music in the shopping centres and Christmas carols and people knocking on doors and all of that sort of stuff. Have you seen excited children? Have you seen mothers carrying their child with their hand and looking at all the Christmas tinsel? Because I have to say, no, I bloody well haven't I?
No. I've got to be honest. There's another thing that's come to the fore this year as well. A lot of families in the area, there's now, if you count, say, every 10th house, there's a few decorations. There's a lot of people that haven't even bothered this year.
Can't bloody afford it.
Bit of tinsel. Well, they've got the stuff from the past. I mean, you ain't got to put lights on. You can just have a bit of tinsel here and there. But I don't know. It just seems sad, really. But I mean, we talk about decorations and the carols here. And I went to Merry Hill in Dudley. Merry Hell, I should say. But that's a figment of the past now. I remember when that first opened, and that was near the Christmas time. The queues was 5 to 10 mile back to get in. Now you can drive straight in. I'll pick my spot and drive straight back out. If you at peak time, it's a different story, but that's the difference now. It is. I don't know whether it's a sign of the times whether people don't want to celebrate Christmas. Don't forget, there's a lot of people now in different faiths and different religions, all the way, you know, their mind thinks about what Christmas is about.
Yeah,
it's just completely eroded, if I'm honest. For me,
what about people that have gone? Because ever since it must be the late 80s, early 90s, shoppings went out of the out of town and to those little
The,
business centers,
the
you know, those
retail
business
part,
stuff
yeah.
and that. Have you, yeah, the retail parks. Did you go out to the retail parks this year? Was the car parking difficult there if you did? Or
Well, I've got to be honest. I've been to a few. Yesterday, I went to see my girlfriend down. It's a place, it's the top of my head, Bentley Bridge, it's called. I picked my space again. Did the top off. I picked my space. It's, full of like the cinema, Hollywood Bowl, shopping centres. I parked up to the top, and it wasn't until probably about an hour later I got in. The traffic was building up a bit, but it cleared very quickly.
yeah,
Normally this time, I mean, don't forget this was yesterday, the 22nd of December. The final week, it's packed. I mean, you can't move, can you? If you're honest, you can't really move Christmas. The amount of,
yeah.
your footfall, cars. I got in, I got out. And that was dinner time. So I don't know whether it's to do with money.
Yeah,
I don't really know, but it's a shame. I love Christmas. I do. I mean, there's certain things you don't like about it, but even from a little kid, I've loved it up to an adult. For me, it's about
yeah,
family time, friends, and taking a break from the work life,
yeah,
refreshing for next year. But all those traditions are sort of gone now.
yeah,
I mean, I remember when I first started work, 85, there used to be like work Christmas parties. Everybody used to get together.
yeah,
And that seems to have gone as well. It's like you're in little cliques now with certain people who might go out or they don't go out. But I mean, let's be honest, TGI Fridays that I used to go with my girlfriend, we don't go there anymore. The two of
no.
us cost us up to £70 just for the two of us.
So
So
it's money for TGI Fridays is the
yeah,
reason,
it's a
then, is
lot of
it?
money for people. If you've got a family as well, it's an environment where families can go, but you can imagine how much money it must cost people.
Yeah.
So, and the
Yeah,
decorations.
I think the Christmas decorations is an interesting one because we've got free streets down our house that have got lights out and those lights on outside the house. And I was going to myself, I can't afford to put the lights outside our house this bloody year. I mean, there is literally just my mum and I. Maybe if we had two incomes coming into this house, we might be able to. And I applaud those people that are doing it. It really does brighten the night outside. But I'm right next door to a post office and a couple of businesses, and they haven't got any Christmas lights on
Yeah, yeah,
outside. The banners outside there. So I have to look at that and go, yeah, I think money and electricity, the energy crisis and all of that is having a bit there. When it comes to the retail parks, I did go out to the retail park earlier this week, and I could park, but it
yeah,
was still quite cramped. But I would say in the past, I've had to wander around and around looking for a spot in
yeah,
the
yeah,
past, right at the same sort of time. This year, the precinct car park, the park in town, empty,
yeah,
and they've just built a bloody great big car park because they've just extended our precinct. You see, because they've built a cinema onto the side of it, and you can still park, no problems whatsoever. And of course they charge where I think in the 90s it was free car parking for the precinct.
mm,
So that's the other thing. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to get some comments out because I haven't really got too much more to add to that. And we've got quite a few comments coming up, and there's a couple of hellos that I've got to bring in as well. So Sai says, have any of you watched episode 6 season 2 of The Bear? It's pretty much done in one shot and depicts a mother cooking Christmas dinner for the family. One of the best episodes of TV I've seen. And I have seen The Bear, but I've only seen season 1. I have not seen season 2. I think it was actually Si that recommended The Bear on one of the film chat ones I went in. So I started to watch that. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I haven't seen season 2, so write that one down then because it's apparently it's episode 6. That might be worth
yeah.
watching on a
Oh,
Christmas Eve. The good news about this is it's recorded, so I can come back to this and get that information later on. So I'm going to be okay with that. Then we've got. Did you see that, Mike? Hello, Mike. Mike has got a wonderful channel, by the way. He's just done a review of Aquaman, amongst a few other things. Well done, my friend. Thank you very much for your support as well. absolutely wonderful. He gave out some tips, about YouTube the other week. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Got an awful lot of knowledge for a young man, and he is a young man. So be nice to know his input on Christmas, actually, if he's still about later on, because like I say, we're two grumpy old Waldorf and Statler.
I was going to say everybody's younger than us still.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know which of the two, Waldorf and Statler, but I'm the one that always goes, boo, rubbish, worst thing ever heard, boo. from the balcony, that one anyway. That's the one I am. I put your name under one of the others. I know I put Denny under one and Delboy under the other on the little picture. I thought it was quite funny because it was the Marley ghosts as well.
Yeah.
So it was just showing the Scrooge. Then we've got Ian back again. Ian Hill, the Ramblings. Why is Christmas pudding so stodgy? There's no room to eat it. Felt I had to eat it because my mum had made it. I felt like I was going to explode. Your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that is you should try my mum's Christmas pudding. It's completely different to anything else I've tried. I've tried all sorts of shop Christmas puddings from Marks and Spencer's, Waitrose, you name it, and they're all bitter. The one my mum makes, but everybody says that about the mum's pudding, but obviously, but yeah, I don't like. I'll be honest, I don't like Christmas pudding as a rule. But then my mum made it one year, and I felt I've got to try it, not to, upset my mum. And lo and behold, a bit of brandy sauce in there, lovely.
Oh, see, now were you old enough to have brandy sauce, young man? What were you? 13? What were you?
Go on. 5 years ago when I started. So I don't know. I might not have been old enough. You might be right.
I can just imagine your mum now going, brandy sauce. Look, put the brandy in. Put the brandy in. A bit more brandy. But when it comes to Christmas pudding, my dad loved puddings. He had a very sweet tooth. He was a thin man, loved sweet things. He worked in a custard factory, Kraft Jacob Suchard, as I said before. But he loved trifle. Oh, he was mad on trifle.
Oh, yes, trifle.
But at Christmas, he'd have Christmas pudding, and my mum would make, and she did on occasion make one, but it was usually a bought one. Me, couldn't stand it. Disgusting stuff. Hate it with a passion. In fact, I only like mince pies in the last 15 years. So what was I? I was 40 when I started to like mince pie. I'm a miserable bastard, to be quite honest. If it wasn't a chocolate gatto or something, it was stuff. What were you giving me this shit for?
Yeah.
Horrible. I'd rather just have a bowl of ice cream. Thanks very much. But it's amazing when you consider the size of me. But I must admit, I flip between a savory person and a sweet person. So what's to say? But I like mince pies if they're hot and they've got double cream on them. But they've got to have double cream. I can't have single cream either. I don't know what it is, man. I'm just a fussy bastard. Yeah. Let's just say it right now. I am a fussy bastard. There you go. So he said about stodgy. So do you think it's more stodgy now, Ian? Is it, or do you think it was stodgy from your experience of how your mum made it compared to other people? Don't know on that one, because I have to say, you'd be lucky, I think, to buy a store-bought Christmas pudding that would be stodgy, because they crimp back on everything. Sugar, everything. I wouldn't think you'd get a stodgy one. Take it like that. They used to come, didn't they, and wrapped up like the actual pudding itself, didn't they, with sort of like silver foil or something, didn't
it was
they?
It was like they wrapped it in that Lucasade type stuff, hasn't it?
Yeah, the Lucas, that was what I was trying to think of, that Lucasade packaging.
Yeah.
I didn't know if anybody had recognised Lucasade packaging. It used to have like cellophane, Ripley cellophane around the outside. Why? Yeah. Why? Has anybody worked out why? Because I can't think. It's in a plastic bottle underneath that, or a glass bottle back in the day, right? And you got this cellophane around the outside. I thought it was to keep the medicine in, because apparently it was a medical drink. Get energy levels and all that. Even the doctors were talking about that. But there's another one. Right, then we've got Playtendo Guy. That's my mate Pete, who's also got a film chatty. So thank you very much for joining. Evening, guys, and Merry Christmas to you and everyone in the chat. Thank you so much, Pete. Definitely go and watch this guy's channel. He does a great movie chat on a Wednesday, but he also got his own little channel, and he does game reviews, big into physical media, and he is now quite a respected critic in movies. He does a lot of things on something called Letterbox. Have you heard of that? It's apparently it's a place where you can leave movie capsule reviews, and he constantly does those. So that's it's called Letterbox. So that's great, something to pick up upon as well. So what else has he's got? Anytime you guys looking forward to on TV this Christmas, Doctor Who, and that's about it. Anytime you guys looking forward, I think it's anything you guys looking forward to on TV this Christmas, Doctor Who, and that's about it. Would you now, after what we've said about Doctor Who in our last 3 broadcasts, would you not? I think that shows you out a bit here, Pete, that you didn't probably watch those 3 deliberations. Do you think we're looking forward to Doctor Who? Over to you, Denny.
Absolutely bloody not. No. No.
Ditto. I saw after we did our 3 deliberations, I think it was a BBC show that Russell D. Davis did called Imagine, I think it was called. And the last 10 minutes showed a little bit about the making of the new Christmas Doctor Who, and the singing in it and goblins. And I'm going, what the Doctor Who pantomime really doesn't do it for me. Forgetting the 3 stories that we got leading up to this new Doctor. Will I be watching it? I probably will, based on the crap that's on TV, which we will get to shortly. We will get there, fellas. I don't think. I can't say I'm looking forward to it. I think it's the only thing that's going to be there to watch. To be quite honest, it's going to be a weird one. Is this the first year that we'll have the? No, we had the King's Speech last year, didn't we? Yeah, we did. We had the King's Speech, so this will be the second King's Speech, won't it? Not the Queen's Speech. We'll come across that as well. Royalty at Christmas. Probably a little bit later on, being as it always was the Queen's Speech, 3 o'clock.
This year, Disney have got the latest Indiana Jones films. I know it's not been well received, but it's always worth a watch, I suppose. I'm going to watch it just to see what it's like. I've watched all the others.
Yeah.
And I keep banging on about this program. The 27th of December, Slow Horses, Gary Oldman. If you're not going to watch anything else this year, watch Slow Horses.
Right, there you are, fellas. Top tip to you: Slow Horses.
One of the best.
You know what? I thought you were going to say Disney's got hold of the King's Speech. I thought, bloody hell, was he going to have Mickey Mouse ears on?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Charlie's got the ears for it, isn't it? Really? So
yeah, he doesn't need much help, does he?
Yeah.
So I thought Disney's got control of the King's Speech.
A wild Christmas speech. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. So I think your answer to that, Pete, is, by the way, Merry Christmas to you. There's
not much.
Not really looking forward to it, but I think it'll probably be the jewel in the BBC crown, other than dancing.
There's nothing
well-known dancing thing, but we'll come across that as well in a moment when we talk about magazines and what we used to ring in the older magazines. David, retro games played badly. My house is lit up like Blackpool illuminations, all round to David's. It looks like the party is on. I've seen the inside of his house. He showed a couple of little photographs this week, and I went, I'm round there. Bloody hell. Wouldn't mind that. Jesus. There we are. So, we'll come back to that in a minute. Doug Scullery, here we go. One of my favorite guilty pleasures is watching compilations of Christmas telly ads from the 70s and 80s. I bet I'm not the only one. And no, you're not. That's all I've been bloody watching all week.
Yeah.
It's adverts from the 70s, adverts from the 80s, the adverts between Goldeneye on ITV in 1979, all sorts of bloody adverts I've been watching. And still my favorite's the Woolworths advert.
Yeah, that's a cracker.
I really do love the Woolworths advert. That tune, you know, that they did change it later on, and they changed the presenter as well. But that one, "Have a Cracking Christmas," is just ingrained, and I think it will be in my brain as I die. It was absolutely fantastic, and it was probably a tune of the period, because I know my sister was getting really excited because she wanted an Amstrad Hi-Fi that year that came out, and Amstrad Hi-Fis were everywhere. They were like £199 and a piece of furniture with a nice silver front and all of this. And my sister was getting really excited because she didn't want Miss World anymore. You know, that Girls World or whatever it is, with the air that you pull out and all this sort of stuff.
Oh, with the makeup
she didn't want a toy cooker that you made candy out of, and then you force fed it onto everybody, including me, and it tasted like flipping cardboard. Shit. It's like Play-Doh, and it was like hot Play-Doh when it came out.
Oh, it's like
bloody
Mr.
awful
as well.
Yeah, Mr. Frosty. Do you remember Mr. Frosty? He'd chew up the ice and it came out of his stomach.
Yeah.
We will get to all of this in a bit. We're still catching up. Bloody hell. Ian Batchelor. I remember the Salvation Army playing with brass instruments and singing carols down our road at night time in the 70s.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Where are they? I have to say exactly the same thing. The only thing I've seen on the Salvation Army has been on adverts, along with donkey sanctuaries, cat sanctuaries, horse sanctuaries. Give the people that are on the street £24 for a Christmas dinner, etc., which I've seen. Every single one is a charity advert on some of the Sky channels. They don't have anything other than charity adverts. They might as well have a charity channel than themselves, to be quite honest. It's chock-a-block full of them, to be quite honest. And I'm not having a go at that either, because they're having a rough time of it and they need as much money as they can get. But I see very little of them on the streets. And I have to say, I was surprised to see Big Picture. You know, the magazine, Big Picture. Is it called Big Picture?
Big Issue.
Big Issue. That's it. Big Issue. Big Issue. I saw one person selling Big Issue this year in our town.
I haven't seen
Bless her. It's the same girl as well selling it. So good on her. But that's the only charity. Otherwise, they were in the stores at the front of the boots. I think I saw the odd person trying to do a charity with a shaky bottle with coins in. The most I see of charities these days is is to sell poppies, for Remembrance Day. There was a lot of that at the Sainsbury's and Tesco's and Morrison's, but I didn't see much else charity wise. Getting caught up, we move forward. Gaming since the 70s. That's Steve. Doug Scullery. I was doing that exact thing last night. Watching compilations of Christmas, that is. LFC, greetings, Del and Denny. Who's been naughty this year? I have.
Yeah.
What about you? Are you nice or naughty this year, Denny?
Yeah. Well,
are you hoping to be on the nice list because you think you've done enough? Or
I think my girlfriend's happy with me, so I'll take that as a win. Yeah.
I'm going to say, based on my figures, I've been naughty. There you are. How's that? So I'll bring YouTube into it. That's the reason why I'm doing better. I've been a naughty boy. There you are. Right. Then we've got Ian saying, I recommend Reacher. That's worth a watch. I'll write these down for me. You got to email it when you're after it. Reacher. Is that Jack Reacher? Not sure. I think it is.
It's on Prime, I think. I'm sure it's on Prime.
Must get caught up with Prime and Netflix and that. I must admit, I've been with my mum watching the soaps, and then she's been watching the darts. So that's about it, really. So there hasn't been much Christmas cheer, to be quite honest. David Retro Games played badly. Enjoyed Reacher. Not started season 2 yet, so I don't think I'm talking about the right one. Ian says, yep, season 2 is good. Ian Hill says, at 63, I'm the oldest, grumpier git here. It doesn't matter about age. I'm the grumpy git. We'll just call you the old rambling man. There you are, 63. Right. Carry on your ramblings, though. We love you, Ian. So with that. Gaming since the 70s. I love puddings, but can't stand Christmas pudding. Yuck. Yeah, you're You can come along to my house anytime you want, Steve. Christmas pudding, it won't be here. Right? Can't afford the shilling inside it either. So you're going to get rich coming round our house. LFC, my late nan used to make a cracking trifle every Christmas. Stodgy, but miss it tremendously. She would put blancmange in it. Is that right? Blancmange, yeah, in it.
Yeah.
Not sure why, but it was boss. Yeah, the old trifle. You used to put those bricks of sort of like.
Oh, it's like,
what was it?
Oh, sponge.
Like a sponge, and then the jelly was mixed in with that, and then you had a layer of custard, and then you'd have a layer of you had a cream and whatever it was on the top.
No.
My dad loved it.
Now that those sponges, it was like chewing sawdust through the jelly. It was awful. But
I'll tell you what, if my dad was short of probably that sponge, he'd have put Weetabix or something there. It'd have been about the same thing.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? Imagine Weetabix in jelly.
Now mine,
a bit like that.
Mine is pure jelly at the bottom.
Yeah.
Then custard.
Yeah.
And then a thick load of dream topping.
Yeah.
Not cream. I love dream topping.
Yeah.
Finished off with a nice, great big block of chocolate all grated up over the top and broken up Smarties over the top of that as well.
Oh, not hundreds and thousands then.
Yeah. Put them on as well. Yeah. Just put them on as well. Yeah. There's no.
I was reminding my friend Rock God of a Two Ronnies sketch where it was one of the Christmas episodes as well. It's where the Ronnie Corbett came into the stop at a sweet shop, and the sweet shop is run by Ronnie Barker, and it was to do with nothing is any trouble, right? So this bloke came in and he said, Ronnie, he came in and he said, I want gobstoppers, but I want the ones that turn pink when you get to the centre. So they both put one in their mouth. I'm not sure what scent of the ones. I think they're white, but we'll have to put one in. Started sucking that. So I want a roll of licorice, but I want them to be about 1.5 meters in length when you unwrap them. So unwrapping them like this. And there was he was just doing all of these sort of like things like I want that's right, licorice all sorts, a quarter of licorice all sorts, but I don't want the blue ones, the pink ones, the brown ones, and I just want the black and white ones. Put them all out, put them in the bag, and at the end he was just getting really fed up with him. He said, have you got any hundreds and thousands? And he said, yeah, I got hundreds and thousands. He said, well, I want 2,472 of them, please. He chucked as if he was going to count them, just chuck the whole lot over him. That's what I call humor, that's what I consider on that. But that's great to know that is I know it said your late nan, but is there anybody in your family that still makes a trifle? LFC, be interested to know that. He continues, can't stand mince pies these days. My mum only likes the buttered ones. They make mince pies, but she likes butter pastry, the butter ones. That's just my mum, though. Maybe it's because your tastes change when you get into your 80s. Personally, me, I'd only have them when they're hot, like me, with double cream anyway. So I don't think the crust of the pastry would make much of a difference. Do you know what I mean? Although I can tell the difference between a Greggs sausage roll and a sausage roll from Ginster's. Do you know what I mean? So I can tell the difference. Then we've got Days Retro Games Played Badly. He says, Ian, you may be the oldest, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're the grumpiest. And that was my sentiment exactly. And he continues, it was my mum's homemade baking. She spent hours steaming and cooking the blooming thing. I can imagine that. We get to it again. Another thing, it was a sneak. It was sneak things on my granddad's plate. He would help me out, but he drew the line at Christmas pudding. Must admit, I don't know whether we sneaked things on mum's on plates. I know that my mum tried to force feed me vegetables when I was younger. It wasn't really sneaking, although there was so much on our plates. I remember Christmas, the plates seemed to be the meat plates instead of the round plates.
The oval ones,
like a bloody oval ones. And she had put I swear to God, she'd put the vegetable down. She knows because I don't like vegetables. She'd get some mash and she'd put it over the top of the vegetables to cover it. And I'd go, and this is where I have a fussiness because I want all my food separated these days. I want the peas separated from the carrots and the meat away from the vegetable and the because I got to eat the vegetables first and then I'll eat the good stuff that's around it. So I don't want it all mixed in. I can't have peas in with mash. No, it's got to be separate. And of course, little peas just stick in with the mash, so it's horrible.
You are a fussy
I am a right fussy old git. People are learning things about me now. I'm pretty sure my subscription's now gone down to 110 or something. Right, I'm dropped like a stone. I think we're going to start talking about topics again in a minute because we're getting caught up. Gaming since the 70s. I am planning on watching Doctor Who over Christmas. The plan is on Boxing Day, watching the Pyramids of Mars. Proper Doctor Who. Totally agree. And if I was to say anything to you, because I don't know, I think you said you weren't going to watch the specials. You're going to be disappointed. Continue to watch the whole of that season of Tom Baker. What was that, season 13 or 14? Pyramids of Mars. That was the season of horror. So it had the Seeds of Death in it. It had a Brain of Morbius in it. It had the Hand of Fear in it. The Deadly Assassin in it, I think.
State of Decay was that? State of
Decay? Yeah, and that was Sarah Jane's last story with the hand, the radioactive guy, whereas you only saw the hand and it grew from the hand. It was, what was the monster's name? Had a name. Andrew.
Was that Planet of Evil? Was that later?
No, that's a bit later, I think. Anyway, I know that it started. The hand grew back into a woman, and then it turned into a bloke. It's all to do with radiation. I know that they found the hand in a quarry, and it wasn't supposed to be a quarry. It's supposed to be an alien planet, I think. Anyway, my memory again here. NFC, some great films have been on today and throughout Christmas. Watched Casablanca on BBC Two this afternoon, then the Liverpool match straight after. You got to remember, NFC, he's a big Liverpool fan. I knew Casablanca was on. I think it was followed by the Maltese Falcon. I'm not sure. There was a few film news. After that, I think it was not Scrooged. It was another Christmas one, but a bit newer. Can't quite remember. But I do know that there was a couple of Christmas films on today. I did see Scrooged on Channel 4 earlier on. Scrooge has to be shown at Christmas. If it wasn't going to be on, I've got it on 4K this year. So I'm okay with that. Guys, I know there's a lot more comments coming on, but I'm going to have to leave it there and we're going to have to start talking a little bit. Otherwise, we're not going to get through everything. And we're still talking a little bit about why Christmas isn't for us. So do you want to move on to a topic or do you want to continue with that? So what topic do you want to choose first?
I don't know. Christmas
songs. We've got adverts, TV, films, traditions, commercialization, like toys and sweets, all sorts. So fire away with one.
Should we do traditions then?
Traditions, right? Yeah.
I think there's more traditions are mainly based around TV programs.
So. Well, yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, Christmas traditions is probably something that is bigger again. The more we go back in time than they are now. What would you say was the biggest Christmas tradition at your house then over Christmas?
I'm just talking about myself, really. My mum and dad don't really have traditions. I seem to do things in a certain way. But I think I put on your blog this week about Christmas food. It's always Christmas Eve, like tomorrow. We'll always have pork cobs with stuffing and then, the pickles and all that. And then obviously just a normal turkey roast the next day, which my mum's fetched the turkey today, £93. Yeah, that's what I nearly died. I don't know where they got it from. And then Boxing Day, it's like the leftovers the day before, but It's always like a nice salad because I love tins of crab. I love stuff like that in our food and all that. But for me personally, it always starts on December the 24th. And television-wise, I always watch the same things every year. I might mix up a couple of the films. I might swap and change them. I always start off with The Twilight Zone. 2 particular episodes, and these are just Christmas episodes. And I watch if I can't watch anything else, I always watch these. They always leave you with a lump in the throat. And it's so Christmas. It is so Christmas, and a wonderful story about a vagabond. It's the first one in 1960, and he's played by Art Carney.
Yeah.
And basically, he's a store Santa who works on a certain part back then, and he wants to give to the kids, and it upsets him that he can't give them anything. He's a drunk as well. Basically, he's a drunk.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I remember about it was he looked a bit of a disheveled.
Yeah. And
Santa, and he definitely drink was involved with.
He drinks because he thinks he's at the North Pole and he's with the elves and he's helping the kids and all that. And he gets sacked from his job, and he walks along the street and he finds this sack full of presents. Now, I ain't going to go through the whole story because I don't want to spoil it for everybody. Because if they want to watch it, there was that one. The first one was Art Carney, and the second one, Richard Mulligan out of Soap, who played Bert.
Yes.
And it is so 80s. It is so 80s. It's just, I've got the goosebumps now thinking of every time I talk about something from the 80s, that makes me feel I'm back there like Gremlins and stuff like that. It is a wonderful, wonderful 20 minutes of what the Twilight Zone was about for me. And those 2 stories, if you don't watch nothing else, it's called Night of the Meek. And it's the first one, obviously, 1960. I think people want to see it. I've actually got, the 1960s was season 2, episode 11, and the Richard Mulligan from 1985, season 1, episode 13, and those were over the Christmas period that they shot those.
Yeah, because Twilight Zone was 1959, wasn't it? When it
started in 59. That one was broadcast in the 60s, in the December of the 1960s. Yeah. But they're wonderful stories about, what Christmas is about to me. If you don't leave them stories with a lump in your throat, there's
because we're going to do things on Twilight Zone another time, because I mean, Twilight Zone, by anybody that watches my blog knows that's my favorite TV show of all time. Rod Serling is my favorite screenwriter. I mean, a lot of people give a lot of disrespect to season 4 when it went into an hour-long format. I still watched it all the way through the hour-long format, so we'll move away a little bit from that. But totally agreement with you, that Christmas episode, I will remember it. I think the other thing about it is I don't know what it is. It might be about the transfer, but the picture seemed to be a different film stock from all the others, where you've got this sort of like black and white on how it was. The Christmas one, it almost looked like it was live broadcast and then recorded. Well,
there is a reason for that, because they shot all of the ones previous on film. They needed to save money, so they put video type. So, and for me, it's actually made it better. Yeah, the Blu-rays have actually cleaned up the sound, so it looks like a live broadcast, like playing to an audience, but with a restored sound. So
yeah. So at least I was watching, because and I knew that, because I mean that's the one startling thing that you actually see, is that the picture quality is different. When you're watching it.
Yeah, it's me, Dad. He's brought me a drink up. So
hello, Dad. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah, that's about the happiest I'm gonna be.
He's sorry, brought me a drink up. I just put it on the side. Yeah. The next one, I don't watch this every year because I've lost my DVDs. I don't know what I've done with them. And it's an episode called ER called Blizzard. I hate medical dramas. Hate them with a passion.
That
But
was a
some of the-
Christmas episode in the emergency room, and I think there was even a helicopter involved in that particular episode, wasn't there?
now this one was in the first season with with George Clooney and all those.
Yeah, George Clooney. I thought there was a helicopter where they brought people in, and it was right. It was
Actually,
really, really busy.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And it was more or less in the middle towards the end.
Yeah.
It's basically they're all snowed in. Everybody was, there was nothing to do at work, so they was having a game of kickball in the emergency room.
Yeah, they couldn't get to the other hospitals.
Yeah,
And it became overcrowded very, 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 very quickly.
You know the one I mean. It's one of those episodes. I've got goosebumps again. It's all Christmas again. It's very, very Christmassy. If that doesn't put you in the mood, Nat King Cole's on there singing the Christmas song. I forgot what that actor was now. He played somebody. Oh God. Special, that's a word. Special needs. A young black chap who plays special needs. Remember, he's playing music over the tannoy.
Yeah. I can't remember his name either.
But it's a lovely story. And they deliver a child on a Christmas day. It is. I mean, it sounds slushy, but as I said, I hate medical dramas. The first time I watched this, the pilot to this season, as soon as this comes out on Blu-ray, I'm having the lot. It's one of my favourite series, The next one, probably everybody watches, The Snowman.
Nothing right, yeah.
But I like the one with the David Bowie intro.
Right, yeah.
It's a bit more atmospheric. Again, that's Christmas. I mean, it's 41 years old now.
I'll probably come across a snowman again when we talk a little bit more about TV, because I don't think we've got quite there. We're talking traditions at the moment. So,
and then I watched, a Wurzel one. So this is for Mark: a cup of tea and a slice of cake, another music.
You brought so much TV. You might as well have said it's not bloody TV. It's not traditions at all. It's me watching what I used to watch through Christmas.
This is what I do watch on the particular day if I can, and obviously finishing off with Scrooge. But as we can talk about that later. There's not much more in the way I have of traditions.
I must admit, the traditions aren't big in our family. I have to turn around and say that traditions were more forced upon us more than anything, in regards to the fact that as a kiddie, my mum and dad would go and see me at school, or probably in the Christmas play or pageant, as they call them abroad. I was a choir boy, so of course I did go to church and was in the choir there. I learned to play some keyboard skills, my piano keyboard skills on the organ that was there. So I remember running, as a little lad, going to sort of play rehearsals, all ready for this Christmas pageant, that would be on, because it would be held for the parents as well. They'd do one in the evening, but mostly it was the end of school production type thing, where you sat in the hall and we did our little bit. When it comes to traditions, therefore, we used to have Christmas carols come to the door. We don't have that anymore.
No, we don't.
We do have a Santa that's still going at the moment, who goes along on a sleigh with a lot of people collecting money, and he goes down every single street of our town and gets money for charity. There was a big kerfuffle this year in our hometown, in the fact that they used to meet at a pub in my area, and then start the going down every street. The pubs changed hands and they wouldn't let Santa into the car park. They said, "No, I'm sorry, it's for patrons only." It was all in the paper. Pub bans Santa from pub. It was all over the newspapers, our local newspaper. And a lot of people were saying they're boycotting that pub. And I must admit, they used to be able to buy Christmas trees from the car park there. You can't buy them this year from there. Don't think these new managers are going to last very long, is what I'm going to say about that. But when it comes to traditions, there used to be a tradition where Boxing Day was where people of a certain class would box up food that was not used at Christmas and given to the peasants. We never had that, but I do remember that my uncle used to go clay pigeon shooting shortly after Christmas. My dad would be big on watching the Boxing Day football and the racing in just before the New Year at Newbury. It would be the New Year's horse racing. He loved all of that. I always used to like a Christmas dinner to be also a Boxing Day dinner. So I used to like roast dinners, 2 roast dinners side by side, one on the day before and one afterwards. So we'd have a cockerel or something, or turkey on Christmas Day, and it'd be beef on the other one, which would be just like a traditional Sunday roast.
Yeah.
So that's I suppose a tradition that we introduced to ourselves. That's about it, really, when it comes to my sort of like traditions. Very small.
No.
Sorry, but
traditions are yesteryear. I mean, if it could be called a tradition, I mean, it was something we used to do every year. I mean, we used to go down. You go down to all your family and that, but it was just for me. It was down to my nan's. I always remember we went the one year. My nan had moved because my nan used to live with us. Yes. I mean, I must have been only 2 or 3. Then my nan moved into one of those granny flats. Remember the granny flats, as they used to call them? And first year we visited, I remember the house just being full of people over Christmas. There's now standing room. And it was something we done every year. We used to visit me. It was me on my dad's side, that now. And we used to do that every year. And then we used to have my mum's, well, on my mum's side, that my nan that on my mum's side. And then like my nan's sister. And that used to be a tradition for years and years, obviously, until they all passed. And that's something I miss. That's probably something, that's a rowdy part of my Christmas, really,
Yeah.
Used to do.
But I've got a load of comments here. Do you want me to start reading them out? Unless you got something else? Ian Batchelor's gone along and said Slow Horses is great. LFC says never heard of it, to be honest. Ian Batchelor says Gary Oldman is class in it. Slow Horses has been on the watch list since I saw the trailer for season 1, but as usual, I forgot to watch anything new. NFC says the last Gary Oldman film I watched was Leon the Professional, which was the first time viewing. Was completely blown away by it. Yeah, it's one of the biggest releases this year in my 4K section over there. Brilliant. It's a hard watch if you think about it, because Natalie Portman plays a very, very young girl, only possibly just turned teenage, and she acts more like a 20-year-old, and it's really sad to see somebody lose their childhood a little bit. So it's a hard watch. Leon is Gary Oldman's best performance, in my opinion. Do you know what? Yeah, possibly. I did like him in Fifth Element. So he did a few films with Luc Besson. He's done a lot in his years, hasn't he? He's played Winston Churchill, didn't he, a couple of years back? Called Our Finest Hour or something. I think it was called.
We're talking film or TV, though.
Those are films here.
Just films, yeah.
This is what they're talking about here: Leon, Fifth Element, and all that sort of stuff. I mean, we could talk about his TV stuff a little bit if you've got itching to tell.
I just wonder whether it was just the film. I mean, there was parts of when he played Dr. Smith. Some of the lines he played on that I thought was brilliant. Probably not his best performance. But
Lost in Space, wasn't it, with the guy from Friends, Luke was it LeBlanc or something, whatever his name is, isn't it? Matt LeBlanc. He played I'll tell you, the only thing that I've really, really liked him in is a TV show called Extras, which was written by 2 British people. Fantastic show, but it was only sold in America. They showed it over here, I think, on BBC 2 every now and again. It ended on its 6th season, but it did pretty well.
Wait until you see Slow Horses, and then you'll change your mind.
David's Retro Games played badly. Got to go, chaps. We'll try and get back in a bit. Hope all you grumpy gits have a great Christmas.
See you later, Dave.
You can see you, David. You're quite welcome that you are part of our grumpy git community. Thank you very much for being a grumpy git, you old sod. Right, now. Having go, LFC. Having seeing it, Si, I couldn't shake your hand more. Yeah. But that's talking about this program. I must get round to seeing it, Doug Scullery, I'm so hoping for a follow-up to the Click and Collect one-off comedy with Stephen Merchant from Christmas 5 years ago. It was fantastic. Please, we want a part 2. Stephen Merchant. I think the only thing I saw him in last was Hello Ladies or something, I think it was called, where he's a website designer who can't get a girlfriend and lives with a girl that he quite fancies, and it's based on his stand-up comedy called Hello Ladies. But Stephen Merchant, one of the funniest things that I remember seeing on YouTube a long time ago was when he was doing his 4th of July, and he says he was sort of introducing himself to the Americans. He said, "Yeah, it's all right, you know, we lost the war and everything." But and then he goes into a rant about everything bad about the Americans, and he said, "So yeah, celebrate this, you bastards," and then drinks a cup of tea or something. I thought that was quite funny.
Same tea. I'm just going to get my tea.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to just read out these comments until you come back out. Then might be good for me to get caught up with. Okay, so LFC says, "You too, David. Get those drinks down, yeah." Sias turned around and said the Salvation Army was at Silverlink Retail Park in North Tyneside on Monday. That's wonderful to know. Like I said, I haven't seen much of them, and nor have you, Denny. You're more closer to a city. I'm in a town. I don't know whether that has anything to do with it whatsoever. I know very little about it, but the Salvation Army was a big thing of my youth in Christmas, so I do miss it a little bit. Ian says, I remember over the Christmas period in the 60s, it was considered a treat when they had TV in the morning. Just didn't happen. There was the test card to watch for the rest of the year. Yeah, this is where BBC would sign off with the national anthem, and it would go off at around about midnight, and then the test card would be shown there, and then it wouldn't be back on until the day shows started, and they would not be early in the morning. Yeah, quite right. I don't remember that, but I remember my dad telling me this, because even when I was at primary school, they showed certain kiddies TV shows around, mid-morning and 1 o'clock. And ever since I can remember, when I was off school, I'd be watching Finger Bobs and Bagpuss and all of this all around about the 1 o'clock-ish time after the news. They were 10 or 15-minute segments that they could just put something in, and it just became a part of my TV. And we're talking early 70s, so you're talking 60s there. So it couldn't have been too much past there that they changed it then, from the end of the 60s to the beginning of the 70s when they did that. And maybe it was even watched with Mother as a 50s thing. So yeah, there must have been a good 15 years of this test card then that you're talking about. Yeah, early in the mornings. Interesting. I haven't really thought about when TV started, where TV ended for a long time, because TVAM was the last time that I remember anybody talking about how early it was. Since TV starts now, it just doesn't end. So we'll come back to that. LFC Gamer Vlogs. One of those darts players looks a bit like Roy Wood from the movie Wizard. Yeah, I've got the darts going on in the background. I always have to have a bit of extra entertainment in case we're boring, you see, Denny. So I've got just something going on in the background. And I thought I won't put a dystopian film on. It's Christmas. Ian Batchelor said, "Yes, LFC Gamer, been in bed most of the week with a nasty bug," I think he means there. Other than that, it's all rock and roll. Brilliant. Still sick and a bit sleep deprived, but a lot better compared to what I have been. My mum has tried making my late nan's trifle, and tasty as it is, it's not quite the same. Is it ever? I don't know about moving traditions on where you have a recipe and it's passed on from mother to mother. I don't think that happened in our family. Did that happen in yours, where recipes were passed down?
Yeah, my sister's
like the way you make a Yorkshire pudding, or it has to be cooked this way, or it has to be done this way, or
yeah. I mean, it has been passed down. It was me dad's mother who taught me nan when my mum moved in originally. So she had the same style of cooking. My sister, on the other hand, she can cook. She can make a decent meal. It's still not like my mum's cooking though. It's like gravy is what a big thing I find, because some people have stuff like oxo gravy, water. I like thick gravy that covers all the potatoes, all the veg.
Did your mother make gravy from scratch out of giblets and all of that sort of stuff, or boiling that sort of stuff? Yeah. My mum did that for a long time when we used to have a Sunday roast every Sunday. She did turn to granules later on, but we never had OXO. We didn't have that cube that you could. It looked very much like that was water.
Yeah.
How many cubes I don't know how many cubes you'd have to put in it to actually make gravy the way my mum made gravy, but you'd have to probably the whole box in.
Like starch.
It always reminds me of that Only Fools and Horses episode where Grandad put the coffee in the gravy and whatever it was. They poured coffee all over their Christmas dinner, and it was like bloody awful. That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. He mixed something else as well. So, yes, and then they had coffee, didn't they? Afterwards, well, that had been gravy, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, God.
That's right. That was a brilliant episode. And we got Ian saying, "What Christmas toys did you get?" Now, this is going to be a big one that I want to bring on. I will read it out, but I want to come back to this because what you're mentioning here, I do remember myself. He says, "What Christmas toys did you get which you couldn't stop playing with?" I think one of mine was, 1967 when I got Thunderbirds 1, 2, and 3. I think I wore them out. These were big plastic toys. Now, you're talking about the plastic ones, but I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Corgi and Dinky ones. Which I played to death. And obviously Jerry Anderson was just the guy. Do you know what I mean? Everything I bought an SPV from Captain Scarlet, an Interceptor. There would be Eagles from Space 1999. There'd be the UFO Interceptor, the Shadow Tank. Oh my God, Dinky Corgi. I was just addicted. So we will talk about that in a little while. We're still trying to get through the comments here. Bloody hell. LFC agrees. Start with the veg first. Yeah, so I was talking about my Christmas dinner. And you have to get the crap out the way and then fill it up later on with the stodgy great stuff. The meat, the spuds, the Yorkshire puddings, everything else. But the one thing I didn't mention, that I am very fussy because I'll have Yorkshires with anything. But the other thing is, I don't like horseradish sauce and tartar sauce, but I put everything. I put mint sauce in. Put mint sauce over the spuds. Put mint sauce over the veg to make it taste better. I have to have mint sauce. I have to have mint sauce. I don't know what it is. And I suppose it's because you can make mint sauce very weak, and you can also make it like jelly. And I prefer it a bit weak, and then.
I'm not one. I must admit, I'm not one for sauces. That horseradish and that tartar sauce looks like pigeon muck. Oh, God,
yeah. Well, my mum likes cranberry sauce.
Oh, that's the only one I like. I always have that one with chicken or turkey.
Yeah, she likes a little bit of like fruit on the side of and I'm going, whatever rocks your boat, mum. But how could you eat that? Like that with me. You just destroyed 3 hours cooking with that.
Get out with cranberry sauce is lovely.
Right, then we get Doug's got a Christmas quiz for Del and Denny. So we'll have to answer this one right now. What famous British airline is mentioned in the hymn Silent Night? No idea. Early night, all is calm, all is bright. Virgin. Christ. I had to think. I said Christ then. I do apologize to anybody that is a bit religious, and I do know it is his birthday and all this sort of stuff, but Christ, I had to go through the to actually find out. I thought, is it Aer Lingus? Is it, I don't know what the bloody hell is he talking about?
I've got an idea. He just wanted us to sing that then, Doug did.
Well, I did it under my breath a little bit, but I mean, this is me going to church and all of the carols and stuff that I've been singing. So, yeah, Virgin. I think I got that one right, Doug. I don't think you're going to catch me out on that one. Steve, my mate Steve, our Christmas tradition is that we get all the food, chocks, treats, and set them out at around midnight Christmas Eve, but nothing is touched until the morning. Been doing it 30 plus years now. Yes, I've heard that. I do know of the setup at Christmas Eve. Like, my dad didn't mind us if we wanted to a little bit later on, open one Christmas present on Christmas Eve. right? This is a little bit later on. But we did get everything prepared Christmas Eve. My mum and dad would not sit down until around about 9 o'clock at night on Christmas Eve because of the amount of preparation that was going on. My dad helping my mum out, all the sort of stuff. And he did. I think he felt bad about sitting down and watching TV while my mum was doing everything in the cooking to get it right. Because you know how it is. You've cooked the dinner, you cook the meat, a couple of days before even. Usually it's the day before, isn't it? And basically you've got all the veg to prepare and all of that sort of stuff because it would have been fresh rather than tin stuff back in the 70s with our family. That's the other thing is that we've turned into a tin nation now. I must admit we haven't bought fresh carrots and chopped them up and boiled them or anything in a long time. It's been baby carrots made out, in tins for don't know how long. So yeah, I totally get that one, Steve. Have you got anything to add to that for him? Because we're still going through the comments at the moment.
No.
Yeah. So Ian Hill, the Ramblings. I think when your family starts to shrink because of death, traditions at Christmas just don't matter anymore. You do what you feel like doing. Yeah, and our family has shrank and others have grown. So I'm not quite sure whether the traditions do grow and continue. I mean, I could ask my cousin Laura, who was here today, and say, "Look, you've started your new family. You've been married now for a good 7-8 years. You're now living in your own home. You've now got a young lad in, and of course you've got the pet animal and so forth. And when it comes to my dad's brother, my uncle, which is where they come from." I wonder if my uncle's influence has passed any traditions across that side of the family, because it is the only side of the family that's left, really. Since my dad's died, my dad's mum and dad have long gone. My dad's gone. My mother was adopted, so it's not really the traditional family from that side of things, although my granddad died in a nursing home during COVID and he was 93. That side of the family is not the birth side. It's what you consider to be her dad, but wasn't. It was adopted. So the traditions are a bit mixed. They would have been, I would have always have considered the traditions would have been passed on, made up by my mum and dad, I think, rather than passed on. I don't think anything from my dad's parents came across in the tradition. All there is, the cheese board. Oh, yeah. We have to have a cheese board on Boxing Day. So we have a board of cheeses and crackers. That comes out Boxing Day. So there is that tradition. Yeah, thanks for that memory. You've just made me think of a memory I haven't thought of in a long time and where it came from. Then we've got, hey, another one, a friend of the family, both of us here, Denny. Happy Christmas, you miserable buggers. And the same to you, you old bastard. See, I'll go one better when it comes to buggers and swearing. Happy Christmas, mate, and thank you so much for the shout out. I tell you what, I had a smile on my face for 2 days.
Yeah.
I'm big on shout outs and that and all of that sort of stuff. And it's not that I want other people to do the same, but when it actually does happen, you just go, yay, my name. Easy. Love doing it. It was absolutely great. And to actually turn around and say that we've sort of like given you some advice and you're taking it on. God help you if it's from Denny. Jesus Christ, he tried to out me the other day and that was it. No, I might as well have just shot myself in the head. No, seriously, you couldn't get better advice really from Denny. From me, I try. Yeah. What's the only thing that we've said that we want to help Seb with a little bit? We've mentioned the scoring system. I think we will mention it here. We do like your scoring system, Seb, because we've talked about it, but it could be a bit better. It's a bit doesn't really suit the scoring system of what we consider to be a scoring system, I think. Whisball seemed to be such a low score. There should have been a a massive gulf really between them, and we're not quite sure why. It might be because you give like 15 points to playability and then give things a lower score that makes it so ultimately low scoring. What's the one thing that's on your mind about the scoring system then, Seb? Because we were both in agreement, but I'm not quite sure I can put my finger on it myself.
Not really. No, it's
Stop scoffing now, just because we're giving a grade. We're grumpy old gits here. We're getting it all out. Come on.
well, it's the sound on Commodore 64.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, it was the music and the sound effects.
Yeah.
For me, that'd have been tops, to the top, more than anything else, and the playability. I mean, really, so I think it was just more or less like you said, really. The Whiz Ball should have been leagues ahead of it. I mean, the Commodore 64 is known as the actual version, the version. The only thing that comes very close to that is Trevor Story's remake on the PC. That's that's that far away from the original. That is a superb for remake.
Because the Amiga and Atari ST ones are atrocious in my opinion. I think the guy tried. I mean, and it's a famous coder as well. Tried, but at the PC one, is glorious, really, isn't it? I mean,
but
really good.
I just want to say though, everybody, if you haven't seen Seb's stuff, just take a look at his stuff. It's original, it's fresh, and it's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely.
Come on, Denny. Look, this ain't it. Don't be miserable, gits. Get round to Seb's place. Put on a sub.
Yeah.
For God's sake. You'll be doing yourself a favour, right? And you'll be thanking me later on.
Make it a tradition.
So make it So that's none of this. He's really, really good. Do it now. I'm telling you now. Otherwise, I'll come round there with a machete. Shoot at you.
I've got a better thing. We'll go around carol singing. We'll be outside the door.
Yeah. We'll be coming around carol singing outside your door unless you sub. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we'll be sending our CD's greatest hits to everybody if you don't start subbing some of these channels that we're mentioning. No, they're all deserving of your attention. You know that full well. LFC Gamer and Vlogs, they used to always some circus show every morning on Christmas. We've got to get to that with the TV. I must admit, circus is something that was very big in the late 70s for me. Big top of big tent of fun and all that sort of stuff. In the 70s, BBC Two would start early morning at Christmas and show black and white Flash Gordon and stuff. Yeah, but that was when the kids went off of school, because it used to be a week before Christmas that you'd start it was the end of term break because you started the new term back in January. They would show serialization, and Flash Gordon was definitely one that I used to watch. Yeah, and that was a continuation, though, of me going to cinema club in the mid to late 70s when I was going to cinema as part of not without my mum and dad, where they'd show two films and they'd show there'd be a serial on as well. That was when things like the Aristocats and Robin Hood as a cartoon made out of animals. Disney, weird. That period of time.
Flash Gordon, just on a side note, that renowned films who released that.
That's the crowd,
Get on your bloody bike and release the other two restored.
Yeah.
That'd give me the third story and left the other two, seriously.
That's talking pictures, isn't it?
The renowned films is like a side thing for a minute, but they had the Saturday morning pictures that was releasing. Now all of a sudden it's completely stopped, and I've been left in limbo with Flash.
Which is really strange because we mourned the death of network this year, but physical media, we've deliberated on in the movie chat side of things, and said it's never been a better year for physical media.
Yeah.
I mean, Arrow have knocked it out the park.
Fabulous Films have knocked it out the park this year as well.
So it's amazing that something like network happened, because there's been a massive amount of media scrutiny on physical media on YouTube, at least. And why Best Buys are taking physical media off of the shelves when you try and order a DVD or a Blu-ray these days, and unless you pre-order it, it's sold out. I mean, I couldn't get an Exorcist, I couldn't get a Psycho, sold out really damn quickly. A number of stuff. So it's never been a greater time, really. I mean, it's got to be the same or better next year, I would think, with everything selling out.
Well, we've spoke, I mean, again, off the side, we've spoke about this. The streaming industry, it's completely different to physical media. It's completely, and I think Disney have known their, that they're at fault with it, and they've started releasing this. Just let's hope that they've started thinking in a different thought pattern now to releasing the physical media.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that. Let's just bear with me. Oh, lost my track when I was going in there. Sorry, here we go. Right, mouse. I told you I'm struggling with this mouse. Bloody awful thing. Didn't Pebble Mill at 1 used to start TV off in the afternoon? It probably did. I remember Pebble Mill at 1 used to be lots of interviews on that. I remember Patrick Troughton was on Pebble Mill at 1.
Yeah.
In the early 70s, and it was called Pebble Mill at 1 because it was done at the Pebble Mill building, wasn't it? I think that's what it was. That was what the building was called. It was outside of BBC's house. It was actually, I mean, I remember they used to do the interviews right by a great big massive window, and you could see their garden and the steps and a fountain or something, out there.
I shot the adventure game from there as well. One of my
friends. Yeah. So I think it was one of those.
They used to do Saturday night at the mill as well, if you remember that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Did they do the old grey whistle test there? Was that the actual main BBC building?
I don't know.
Could possibly have done, not sure. Gave me in the 70s. When it comes to gravy, the thicker the better. I cannot bear watery gravy.
Absolutely,
you and I both. And like I say, all round to Steve's. We now know where we can get the best thick gravy that you can ever get going. Can't beat a bit of that. Brilliant. Watery gravy is rank. Yep. So it looks like you got a lot of people coming, Steve. Start putting that gravy on. We've got about 5 people already getting in a bus to you shortly. Then we've got Sam, my friend Sam. Now, Sam is a youngster. In fact, I mean, if he's still watching it. And by the way, we don't mind a guest coming on or two. We deliberated, didn't we, on said, is it just going to be us two miserable old gits, or can we ask anybody else? And the consensus was, if you're part of the Discord family, then we're quite happy to put the invite into the Discord or Messenger. Because you've got to be known to us, and we don't really use much social media. So I deliberated and said Discord for definite. I might expand it to Facebook because there's a couple of people that I wouldn't mind on that only know me through Facebook. But by all means, if you want to come on and we're gonna, at the moment we've been going an hour and a half. We're doing all right. We ain't even started TV films and everything else yet. So it looks like you got us for a while yet. So Sam, anyway, let's go back to Sam. Sam is usually known as DJ Sammy to us all. And basically he's on the chat streams for talking about movies. Nice lad, absolutely lovely. And I like his side of things because he's what I consider to be the younger generation, and then comes across and definitely compliments us all gits, because he'll come in from a view of, but that's all I've ever known is this millennial side of things. Because I think a lot of people think the millennium is the divide, and there's millennials and before, and I disagree, because I think there are some people in the late 90s and mid 90s that also don't recognize 70s stuff and that sort of stuff. I think there is a better divide than just saying the millennials. Anyway, he says, hi, Dan and Denny. Really enjoyed your Doctor Who 60th anniversary special discussions. Have a fab Christmas, guys. Keep up the great work, and we will. Thank you very much, Sam, for coming in and leaving a comment for us. LFC says, has to be thick gravy, not the piss water crap. By the way, this is no problems with the language here. I am reading it out verbatim. We are grumpy old gits. That's all I've got to say about all of that. Ian Batchelor says, bread sauce, sprouts and stuffing are my fave parts of a Christmas dinner. I think my dad also used to do on a Boxing Day bubble and squeak. He'd get the cabbage that was served on a Christmas dinner and make bubble and squeak, because you make it out of cabbage, don't you? With that cabbage and something else, isn't it? Fried bubble and squeak. Pretty sure.
Never had it.
Any other thing you want to mention about bread sauce, sprouts? Do you want to talk about any of that there?
Sprouts and stuffing, yeah. Bread sauce, no. I don't do sauces.
Right, me. So I suppose you're going to see this an awful lot. Bread sauce, sprouts, fart. Turn me back there on that one. Stuffing, no. You see, it's that thing where Paxo and no.
Oh, like a bit of stuffing.
Oh. What you want to ruin it for? You want them little pigs in blankets. That's what you want. You know,
yes,
sausage with a thing around like that.
Hang on now. Your pigs in blankets, smoked or streaky bacon?
Yeah, streaky bacon.
Yeah, now smoked. Smoked or unsmoked streaky.
Ooh, well, I suppose I'd go with smoked, but give it a little bit more flavour. You see,
have a bit more. That's it. You got it there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know my food when it comes to that. Bloody hell. Yeah. LFC, you can't beat mint sauce. No, you can't. I'm telling you now. Brazarm, hello, and Merry Christmas to you all. Yeah. I'm not quite sure. I think that's a new name for me. Is that someone you might know? Hello to you. Merry Christmas, sir. Welcome to our swearing Bah Humbug Christmas extravaganza. And we've got royalty. Mainmeister just dropping in to say a quick hello, lads. Yes, he's a very busy person at the moment. He's in 2 different places, and to be quite honest, he's pushing as well to do his own stuff on the side. So very, very, very busy time. And if you don't know Mainmeister, where the bloody hell have you been? He's been around for about 13 years. He's really old. I mean, you think we're old? Bloody hell! I mean, he's mummified and got bloody embalm. You know, he's got embalming fluid going through him or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Keep him going. Right. Ian Hill, the ramblings. I think it's Yorkshire tradition, but you always eat Christmas cake with a lump of cheese. Ooh. It's reet grand. Yeah, you can keep that one up in Yorkshire. A little bit cheesecake. It's not made out of cheese. A lump of cheese. No, Christmas. No. Sorry. To say, Ian, that one is definitely for you.
Yeah.
As long as you've got a cornetto in the freezer for when you get that out, I'll be all right. Because we have to have an alternative if you're going to do things like that. What, you're eating it by yourself? LFC Gamer and Vlogs evening. Al, happy Christmas. Seb's plays. Haha. See, always moaning. Cheers, guys. The whole Whizboard journey was thanks to you two. Have a good one, guys. Yeah, and to you, Seb. And thank you so much for all of your content. Quality stuff.
Quality.
All I've got to say on that. LFC Gamer, Bubble and Squeak was a Boxing Day tradition for me and my family. Thought we'd not made it in some time. Yeah, must admit, I think since my dad died, I think that is one of the things that it's why I probably haven't remembered Bubble and Squeak. You know, you used to even buy it frozen. You know, in Iceland, I don't know whether they do all that sort of stuff now or not.
Never had it.
But Bubble and Squeak, yeah, it's definitely it's fried cabbage and potato, I think. That's what it is. You make it into a patty and fry it. Ian Hill, the ramblings. My mum always bought dates at Christmas, but why? Nobody liked them. No one ate them. Well, my dad was into those walnuts with the walnut crackers. Do you remember? He had a metal sort of like a pair of pliers that had 2 sort of like round things like this. Put them in. All you heard was crunching, and the shells was like this, and then all you'd eat was this little thing that was in the center of it. The rest of it was all just bloody mess.
Yeah. It was dates, and figs, and walnuts and peanuts. Yeah, well, the other type of nuts as well.
They were always in them syrups as well, weren't they? Dates was in the syrup, wasn't it?
Yeah.
figs and things.
I like figs, but dates, it's like chewing on some old carpet. Oh God, how do people eat those? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I put them in the same vein as them lemon and orange segments.
What?
Awful.
So your dates come from Westminster carpets? Is that
Bloody
deep pile dates?
Yeah. Oh, the bloody
Yeah.
awful.
Jesus Christ. They got saying my mate puts tomato ketchup on his Christmas. Oh well, your mate's mental. I mean, we're grumpy old gits, but that's just disgusting. That's wrong on so many levels.
Yeah.
No. There's a lot of reasons I'd put tomato ketchup on. Like a fry up in a sandwich. Or with some meat or something. A sausage sandwich. But sometimes I'd use brown sauce for some of these that I'm talking about. But on a Christmas dinner,
No.
In fact, Rock God reminded me that he said that his daughter is a. What did he say? He said she's a disgusting cow. He puts mayonnaise on the Christmas dinner.
Ugh.
Mayonnaise and gravy. Oh. Where'd you learn that from?
Ugh.
Oh. No.
Oh, dear. This is going to be another stream about unusual foods. I can see it coming up.
Doug Scullery, correct. Virgin Airlines. I thank God for that. Bloody hell. Well, I thought I was losing brain cells, but I'm glad I got that one. Doug Scullery. I will definitely check out Denny's Twilight Zone recommendation. Cheers. Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Do listen to Denny. He's up on these sort of things. And Denny and I sort of like have a certain with when it comes to Twilight Zone because we both just love it so much. I must admit. Twilight Zone to me is just some of the best writing. We know so much about Rod Serling. Like I say, I always bring it up because there was a book with the first DVD release of the Twilight Zone.
That's right.
When it was coming out, and it had a book on the Twilight Zone, and it talked about Rod Serling and how he wrote most of the stories, and he used to have a dictaphone next to his bed because most of the stories came from dreams and nightmares. And I always used to have this fun little anecdote to him. I said, I didn't want to be his wife. Imagine with waking up and going, they're going to eat us, the served man. Jesus Christ. I mean, if those he wrote, how many did he write? Was it 150 of the 170 odd episodes? Yeah. He wrote those all in 5 years.
Matheson done the others for him, but he also did the Night Gallery as well on top of those.
And then he carried it on with the Night Gallery for 3 years. Was it 3 years?
But he didn't have so much control over those as he did with the Twilight Zone.
No, because it was all sponsorship and everything back in the day with their, because you had a soap brand or whatever it was in the adverts in between the two segments of the show. So, Ian Batchelor, eat my dates. My dad would always get a packet from the local greengrocers at Christmas. Greengrocers, we haven't talked about them. You see, since Sainsbury's and that. When was the last time that you saw sort of like a greengrocer, like I'm talking of a greengrocer? We used to have a guy, and he'd wheel out his barrow in the morning, and he'd put the all the veg and everything outside the shop. And he'd weigh it on the actual scales on the and everything like that.
Yeah, they've all shut down in our local town. The lot, all the greengrocers have gone. The lot.
Yeah. And as much as we turn around and say Amazon have destroyed the high streets, I'm sorry, Sainsbury's and Tesco, you destroyed greengrocers and a number of other things. I mean, you're not, you can't say there isn't blood on your hands for a number of things. I have to say,
the latest victim as well.
Yeah, I mean, Boots have probably tried to redeem themselves a little bit here because Boots, you now go in and you get your tablets and everything because they've stopped doing pick and mix and selling records and tapes and toys. But you used to be able to go into Boots and you'd buy your albums and you'd buy your cassettes from there and you'd buy some toys and you'd buy pick and mix. They were almost like a Woolworths.
Yeah,
but now. Computer games. They had a chart. Now you just get your tablets from there. There you go. And Martin Lewis will tell you that their best perfume and makeup is always sold a week before Christmas. You can get 50% off of the number 7 makeup range. It's always there every year. Yeah. So Ian Batchelor continues. I always think of the little monkey from Raiders of the Lost Ark when I think of dates. Yeah, I do as well a little bit. There was a TV series as well called Tales of the Golden Monkey. I don't think they had a little monkey in that, did it? Did it have Did Tales of the Golden Monkey have a monkey, a little animal in it, a little monkey in it?
I don't think I've got the box set, but I've never watched it yet.
Yeah, I remember the old plane is just like the one out of the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Something to do with an idol? Was it an idol or something?
Yes, it was an idol, but I just wondered, did they have an animal in it? I thought they did have an animal in it, but I can't quite remember. There we are. I'm second guessing myself. Gave since the 70s. I loved oranges and lemons, those sliced sugared fruit things that you can't get them now. You can have the lot. I told you about this the other day, didn't I? Jellied fruit. Oh,
yeah,
covered in sugar. Shit.
Yeah.
I thought, Mum, I used to go to my mum and said, what have I done wrong? Where's my curly whirly? Where's my Mars bar? What are you giving this shit out for?
Yeah. That was like date a droid. What them date a droid something. Well, then that was a like dried jelly tots. Those things are. Oh,
yeah, horrible. No, it was just like jujus, jelly, horrible with them. Just a mouthful of sugar all over it. Sorry, I always thought I'd done something wrong when they brought them out. LFC. Not the biggest lover of figs yet. I can't get enough of fig rolls.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm a big fan of figs. They do have them because most people know I work in a probation office. I work for the Ministry of Justice. They do have the offenders in. They do have them in group classes, to learn some stuff. There's always free coffee. They have the biscuits, and they buy them in these little free packs and stuff. So there's a free pack of ginger nuts, bourbons, custard creams, and the ones that always last is figs, fig rolls.
No, that was the first one I picked.
So if you buy a box of these, right, all the bourbons will be gone. Bit of a lie, all the custard creams will be gone, all the ginger ones will be gone. What would be left is shortcake and figs.
Now that was
even the digestives will be pretty much gone with the ginger nuts. Just to let you know. David says, I'm back. Nice to see you back. I hope you brought your front with you. Ox. Hello, Denny. Hello, Ox. Another friend of the channel. Thank you so much for your support, young man. I say young man, but we know he's an old bastard. He's as old as us. Ian Hill, the Ramblings. I still put Branston pickle on my Christmas dinner. Goes right back to the 60s. It was a crafty way my mum tried to get me to eat those awful veg. I know that my dad liked pickled onions on a Sunday evening with a salad, like he'd put stuff in like that. But I've never known him. My mum likes Branston pickle when she's having something like a chicken sandwich. She'll make get slices of the breast of chicken and put it there. Then she'll put Branston pickle over the top, or piccalilli. I don't like either. Can't stand Branston pickle. Can't stand piccalilli. Piccalilli's the worst. Looks like sick.
Yeah. Well, Branston pickle looks like dog food.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Piccalilli it looks like sick. Horrible. I think it's what you put down your throat to make you sick. Actually. It's almost like force feeding the stuff that's going to be coming out of you. Anyway, David Veteran Games played badly. Bought loads of specky tapes from Boots as a kid. Yeah, the Boots chart. I'm telling you now, if there was W.H. Smith and Boots, they were usually opposite each other in the precinct. And I tell you now, you'd be going between the two, see if one's 50 pence cheaper than the other one.
I just want to tell Dave now, I actually bought my Commodore 64 from Boots. My very first one.
Really?
Yeah. They've been I bought my Commodore 64 from Boots. I just thought Dave would like to know that, by the way.
Oh, yeah, because he's loved it with his specky. I mean, you are wrong about everything, David. Your specky is wrong. Sorry. But we love you anyway. Right. That's Ian Batchelor. Had a Jack Russell with how'd you say that?
What's that?
Tash? I'm sorry, you've got me there on Ian. I've destroyed that and I can't pronounce it. Do you know what that is, Denny?
No. PTAH.
I thought that might be a word. Sorry.
Gone over my head.
Sorry, you got me on that one. Let's move on. Yeah, Bachelor Turns of the Gold Monkey. Oh, go on. What did you go?
Go back in.
Patch. There you are. Look, that's what he was talking about. He missed a letter out.
Yeah.
I had a Jack Russell with a patch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did my uncle living on a farm.
Yeah, he was,
In fact, we actually called it Patch. Yeah. And the pilot was Commander Decker from Star Trek. Yeah.
He was a very naughty boy. I heard in real life.
Yeah.
Mm.
He was, wasn't he? Yes, it came out, didn't he? In fact, it destroyed his career, didn't it? It came out all in the news. Less said about that because it's a Christmas episode.
Yeah,
that might be something to bring up at another time. Cy Robbins says, for me, the sweets that I like at Christmas is Turkish Delight. Sorry, where'd you get this? And a good old Terry's chocolate orange. Terry's chocolate orange, you cannot buy in Sainsbury's at the moment. They've sold out because I tried to buy one. Because I like the mint ones at the moment. Turkish Delight, you can have the lot.
As long as it's got the chocolate round it, I can eat it with the chocolate. You know, is it Roundtrees who sell it in the 3-pack?
Oh,
I like that Turkish Delight.
Yeah.
Terry's chocolate orange, more than 2 segments, I feel sick.
It's
like
rich. It is rich. My mum likes Matchmakers over Terry's chocolate orange. I think it's probably because they're thinner, and so there's less of the overpowering of the essence of orange in it.
You're saying that. I haven't seen them this year. Matchmakers.
Oh yeah, Matchmakers got loads of those left. You just can't buy Terry's chocolate oranges. Turkish Delight. The only good thing about Turkish Delight were the adverts. The rest you can just get stuffed.
Oh, I like a Turkish Delight.
Oh no. Oh. I really am an old git. I'm sorry. I am definitely turning into that old git. I am. You are thinking. I think you're coming out of this old git quite well, Denny. Me, I'm definitely on the side of the old git. Ox, Terry's.
Oh yeah, Terry's
Neapolitans were always a Christmas sweet for me.
Good God, I remember them. Yeah.
Well, I thought that was more modern Neapolitans.
No,
they were little sweets, you know, that you were
sweets.
Yeah.
Oh, that was from the 70s, I'm sure that was.
Really? Because I think that, I mean, here to me, modern is like heroes and celebrate celebrities and all of that sort of stuff. The Neapolitans, I thought they used to do them in a packet and they were individually wrapped as well.
Yeah,
but I thought that they were still not that long ago when you consider Quality Street. If you look at the age of what Quality Street is and Roses, the Neapolitans are more modern. I don't think Neapolitans came out at the same time as Roses and Quality Street.
I might be completely off kilter here, but I'm sure that was those individually wrapped sweets.
They were white the white wrappers with a little picture of what the second
and that was in the box. And I'm sure again, I might be wrong, but I thought that was a 70 sweets.
No, I think you're right. They were around in the 70s, but what I'm trying to say is, but Quality Street Roses have been around. I remember the 1 kilo bloody tins of those.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And they go back, and I don't ever remember seeing a 1 kilo tub of Neapolitans. You see what I mean? So they couldn't have been a biggish seller.
Oh no!
Otherwise, they weren't competing with those guys, were they? The Roses and the Quality Streets. You see what I'm getting at? So that's what I was trying to get at. LFC Gamer Vlogs. It ain't Christmas without a Terrace chocolate orange. Love the white chocolate variant.
Ooh,
now, I tried the white chocolate variant, and it's not too bad. But I have to say, I did have a Terrace chocolate orange in my stocking. And we did have a stocking when I was younger. It stopped when I was about 13. We didn't do stockings anymore. But we had a Terrace chocolate orange in them. But, you know.
I'll try that. I love white chocolate. I'll try that one.
Yeah, they do a white chocolate, but they do a mint one now. Like I say, the mint one is gorgeous. They brought them out this year and they sold off the shelves like nobody's business. It was like a special edition.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was gorgeous. can't buy them at the moment. They're all sold out. LFC Game of Thrones. Adore Branston. As for Piccalilli, I only like the juice of it. Juice. Hell. I'd rather drink the vinegar out of a pickled onion. Just drink it neat. And that's bad. That's like Sarson's. Drinking a bottle of sauce. Ian Hill, the Ramblings. I remember because my dad was on a holiday after Boxing Day. As a treat, we would watch his home movies. Also some reels of Laurel and Hardy, Charlie Chaplin, and Fireball XL5. It was magic. Super 8. Yeah, so he was using Super 8 film. We weren't lucky enough to have a little cine projector. I'd have loved to have had a Super 8 cine projector. The closest I got was, I don't remember, they used to do a toy, and it was done by Viewmaster. You used to be able to get cartridges that shone into a torch and then onto the wall.
Yeah,
you'd be able to watch things like the old 60s Spider-Man cartoon shot onto the wall through this little thing. And then because I loved Viewfinder, but the trouble with Viewfinder is that you put the reels in and you put it up to the light. You were going like this, and it was all in 3D. It looked a bit 3D the way it was. It wasn't supposed to be, but it did look 3D. But there was no sound, so you looked forward to this projector that they did. But again, very short-lived. I think the tapes were more like 8-track, that sort of looped tape. So there was no fast forward. You had to watch it. Otherwise, when you stopped it, it played from the point that you were at. But that was a great toy of mine. Just bringing a toy in that I used to love as a kid, Viewfinder, and the cartridge projection system. I'd have loved a Super 8 though. Laurel and Hardy, Charlie Chaplin, Fireball XL5. You mentioned you might as well have given me an orgasm in regards to stuff that gives me a warm feeling inside, a homely feeling, a feeling of general smile and gladness.
I'll be honest with you.
Laurel and Hardy, Charlie Chaplin, Fireball XL5.
Laurel and Hardy is a subject I'd like to do. It's
yeah, we've got to do that.
I love Laurel and Hardy. I've got the box set. I've got it. Well, I bought that. There's a restoration Blu-ray of all the small.
Well, I want that.
Yeah,
like
it's
expensive. It's expensive at the moment. I'm hoping that they're going to do a. I don't think it's going to be long before there'll be a centenary, because what was it? 1920s.
Yeah,
they started. So we're coming and with Warner's now doing their 100 range, where it's got celebrating 100 years of Warner Brothers. It can't be that long before we're going to get to Laurel and Hardy's centenary of them being together in a film, because they were separate actors for a long time.
That's correct. Yeah.
And they were in the silence. So we must be getting very close to a centenary. And from that point of view, I'm hoping that they get the old films out from the archives, because they put every single one of them now, I think, in the Hollywood vault of films to preserve. I think they're all in the preserved film stuff now. Love to get those out and get 4Ks or Blu-rays of those.
Well,
don't care what,
They are restoring them, that side.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would be great for me. That would make me my year.
Yeah.
That would make the same year as me getting a full Blu-ray set of Carry-Ons.
Oh,
I mean, which is happening, but it's taken a bloody long time, and it's also being done in Australia, which is costing a bloody fortune, because they're bringing them out in 4s, aren't they? 4 films.
I'm not going to bother.
It's costing £40 or something, isn't it? 50 odd quid. David Retro Games played badly. I'm never wrong. Specky rules. You're just wrong with that statement. So there you are. I mean, you want. It is, just so you know. See this wording here. That's just all manner of wrong. just so you know. Love you, Dave. Please don't abandon me. Gaming since the 70s. I bought my wife the Completely Invaders box set because I want to watch it. Does that make me bad? No, it doesn't. But you've intrigued me, because I bought the Invaders as 2 separate DVD sets, and you've got it as a box set. So that means there must be a reissue. Right. You didn't tell me that. I wonder if they'll ever do a Blu-ray though, a Quinn Martin production. Being as the streets of San Francisco is something that I've heard that they're doing on Blu-ray. I wouldn't say that it was too far off for the Invaders. It'd be nice. It'd be nice.
I just wonder if they'll put that little movie, which wasn't really attached to it, you know, that one they made later on.
Oh, that Scott Bakula Invaders crap.
I know it's crap, but I mean, as an extra, it should be on as an extra reel.
You could do it as a complete then, Invaders.
Yeah.
Anyway, Invaders always will be in my top retro things to watch. Just the intro itself, I can see it now with the UFO flying towards Earth and the voice. Who did the voice of that?
Oh God, he wasn't that chap who used to do the voiceovers for Lost in Space and all that, was it?
Yeah.
Oh God, what's his name? Dick.
It'll come to me. It's just that his voice was eerie. You know, it was like David Vincent looking for a shortcut that he never found. And he always said it in that way. And I was going, you eerie bastard. Scaring the life out of me. And who looks for a shortcut that you never find? I didn't understand that sentence anyway. But it was great, you know.
I've got to find that.
David Vincent has seen them. For him, it began on a lonely head. It was just like that.
Brilliant.
It's all going back to me, and I haven't watched that for a number of years, but there you are. You look up that while I read through the rest of this. Cy Robson, Chocolate Turkish Delight. Oh, hell. It's just all manner of wrong. LFC Gamer and Vlogs After 8 is another chocolate I would devour. My mum's favourite is After 8.
Yeah, them are nice too.
Waffer Finn from Monty Python. Waffer, would you like just a Waffer? And he blew up, didn't he, in the Monty Python and the Meaning of Life. Remember After 8s? Yeah. Ox. Anyone remember the Red Cadbury's money box that they dispensed in a small bar when you put 2p's in the top? Yes, I do.
Yeah. I've got a story.
Oh my God.
I've actually got a story about that. It was one Christmas.
They used to do little miniature dairy milks as well.
Yeah,
It looked like they were supposed to be like cigarettes. I think it's supposed to look the shape of the old cigarette things outside a newsagent where you could buy your pack of cigarettes from, you know, with a little drawer at the bottom.
I got up the Christmas morning, got my sister up. You know, as young kids, you're excited to get and wrap your presents.
Yeah,
she wasn't excited at all. She was looking through me basically. She finally got up and put some money in to get one of the chocolates. And the next thing, I was covered in puke. So, yes, I do remember them 2p bloody red money boxes. Full well, being covered in sick Christmas morning.
I do remember those dispensers. They were plastic. Later on, they made them out of cardboard. If I remember rightly, a Dairy Milk cardboard type version. And I haven't seen them for years after that. Yeah, that brings things back a little bit anyway. NFC Gamer and Vlogs, Roses has Quality Street beat. Yes, I would probably say so. I wasn't very big on things like the big purple one and all of that sort of stuff that you get in Quality Street. Quality Street, I like the triangles, the green triangles. Ooh. Roses, I used to love the orange creams in Roses.
That don't you think that tastes like sugared flavoured? Nothing now though. Chocolates. It's the flavour's gone completely out of them.
This is the first year I was with my mother on Friday picking her up from her appointment to have her hair done, and we were picking up the meat. We happened to go into a mini Tesco, and I said, "Do you know what, Mum? The one thing we haven't done this year is buy tubs of chocolates, right? Did you want to get any? Because there was 2 in this little Tesco where you could buy 2 lots of Quality Street tubs for £9." Which meant that they worked out to be about £4.50. And they're £5.50 generally this year, and they're smaller in size.
Yeah, they are.
And the first thing my mum said, "Yeah, but I don't want Quality Street. I want Roses." So it's quite right. I think Roses always did beat Quality Street in a way. I know that Quality Street got their fans, and we can have a fight about it and all of this sort of stuff. But I do think Roses had a little bit more quality about it.
But what about Family Circle? Have you noticed how them are doubled in price? They used to be
biscuit, the Family Circle biscuits.
They used to be £2 on offer for the big two layers. This year, my mum bought one. I said, "Oh, I've got the family circle this year, £2.50." He said that wasn't bad, and I said, "But there's only
Yeah.
one. There's only one layer."
Only
Oh,
one layer, yeah.
but they are just under £5.
They have jammy dodgers and that in, don't they? They have the
Oh,
jammy
yeah, I
dodger
love
type
them.
ones and stuff. Because
Yeah.
my mum always loved. We always bought those, and we also bought foxes. But the
Yeah.
foxes are so expensive nowadays.
But
We
have you noticed-
we haven't bought any of them.
now there's no
Yes, yeah.
variety. Is there amongst any of Victoria biscuits and that? Them
Yeah.
are like cardboardy.
Yeah, because it wasn't it always that the quality one was the one that was in the tin foil.
Yeah,
You looked at the whole lot, right? You had these chocolate circles and hexagons and all this sort of
you go,
stuff.
that's
right?
mine.
And the ones that I'm having is the one with the silver around. Right, I'm having that. It was
that's
always
gotta be
orange
better.
or something
Yeah,
like
it's got to
that,
be
you know?
better, hasn't it? That one. So anyway, the answer to it, William Woodson.
William Woodson. What's he done then other than voiceovers?
Hey, you're asking me that now.
Oh, all right. No, we'll talk about that another time, but
Yeah.
we'll keep that memory in our head because William Woodson, yeah.
Yeah.
David, retro games played badly, rather partial to a box of chocolate liqueurs at Christmas. Yeah, we haven't talked too much about liqueurs. We used to have the little barrels with brandy in and all of that sort of stuff, and I must admit they weren't too bad. Could get pissed on them, but they're all right.
Well, that's another little story. I got my niece. She helped us. She helped herself because she knew we had chocolates. She come out of a Christmas day. She knew we got chocolates in the cupboard, and unbeknown to her, she put one of the liqueurs in her mouth, and they come in crying. Was now like it. I mean, well, that'll teach you for taking for not.
Yeah, because it would have had a nasty taste if you hadn't had liquor before, because they were always quite the strong, like brandies and or proper like port or something like that in them. So they weren't exactly like sherry, were they? They had sherry ones. So yeah, but liqueurs definitely a favorite at Christmas, definitely a part of a Christmas tradition and what we bought and stuff. So thanks for bringing that one up. Into the 70s. Terry's Neapolitans were definitely around in the 70s. My grandma loved them. Yeah, I don't think I was trying to get at that they weren't around in the 70s. All I was trying to get at was I always remembered them as being something that I had later on, and it was Quality Street Roses that I remember the most. I'm questioning whether they were around in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah. But
You know what I mean?
Even now, remember Christmas before in the 70s and 80s, you used to have so much variety. Like Terry's Neapolitans would be probably in a nice presentation box for the family, and you would get them, all different types of sweets. But now there's no variety amongst any of them now. It's just the same stuff. I keep regurgitating year in, year out.
See, my worst bag of chocolates that I ever have, and I'm going to, again, alienate everybody, and people are just going to unsubscribe to me, is Revels. I cannot stand Revels. And the reason I can't stand them is they make the orange cream and the coconut one exactly the same thing, like a round fucking Malteser. And I don't like coconut. So there I am with every single piece of chocolate. I'm biting half of them and going, coconut, fucking hell, like that. And then having to bite sod you Revels.
I'm sorry, there's no out for you, mate, at all. If you don't like Revels, I'm sorry.
No, but I want to like Revels because they've got chocolate buttons in there and all this sort of stuff. But they've got a coconut one and a coffee one and an orange, and they're all like looking like a Malteser. And you just don't know which one you're picking up. And it's almost like you've got 3 sweets in front of you and one of them's poison. Are you going to take, Russian roulette? Are you going to take the dare and have it? It'll be like,
you are miserable. You are miserable, aren't you? You are miserable. Revels now. I'm not having Revels
because I can't stand bounties and all that. In fact, if you have a box of celebrations, which bounties are in, I don't think they're in Heroes. I think they're in celebrations. All that's left is bounties.
I like bounties, but it has to be plain chocolate.
All right.
Which I don't do anymore.
Just coconut shit. I'm sorry.
Cardle, you are fussy.
Right. I'm not in a good light now, by anybody. Danny Jukes. I'll turn this around, Denny. Say some nice things about me. Danny Jukes, I hope you are all good and happy Christmas to you all. Thank you very much. Please stay with me, Danny. I'm going to say that now to every single one. Don't go. Ian Hill, The Ramblings. Do you remember proper selection boxes with the cutouts and the little games on the back of them? And Mars bars were massive. The Advent says that they help you work, rest,
Yeah, I do.
play. Yeah, of course we do.
The games on the back. Yeah, I don't remember those. Yeah.
Advent calendars as well. I mean, do they do them now? I hope they still do. I made a little joke today. Did you see it in my Facebook? My little joke. No? Oh, let me see if I read it out. This is an old one. It's one I post every year, but it always amuses people. Let's have a little look. Yeah, here we go. And excuse the swearing, but it goes like this. Fucking arseholes, I'm going to find you. I just got home to find all the windows wide open. They've taken everything. It's all gone. I'm waiting for the police, the dirty, rotten, thieving bastards. What kind of sick-minded person would do that to another person? You are not human. You are low-life scum. That was my advent calendar, and you had no right to open the windows and eat all my chocolates.
Yeah, and you bloody had me that year. I was feeling sorry for you. I was going, oh my god, what the yeah.
You get to the end and it's all about an advent calendar. I do like that one. It just tickles me every year. I forget about it and then it comes up again in my Facebook. Do you remember this last year? And I go, oh, I've got to show that one again. Just makes me laugh. Just put it straight there. But yeah, advent calendars. We used to make them at school as well with tinsel and paint and put 2 sheets of paper and glue it together and cut the doors and all that sort of stuff. Chocolate ones were great, but they were always expensive. I think my mum found it difficult later on to warrant buying a chocolate advent calendar, especially as she'd open the one the next day before we could get to it. It wasn't very nice and sporting of my mum. I said, that's for us. Oh, well, I'm sorry, but, I like the 14th.
What used to fascinate me about those advent calendars, I used to open all the windows at the very last one. And if you took the front off the top, there was always pictures behind. Well, there's
you could see the perspex behind it, so you know exactly what they were.
So there's pictures all the way down. So there was obviously some that had never even been seen, the pictures. So whether there was all random, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. I just used to open the door and go, that's in my mouth. I love that. It was always the race to get the thing out of the cereals, with the little toy. It was like, I've got to wait till I get to the bottom. I used to pour the whole frigging lot out to get the toy out and then put it all back in the. My mum would turn around and say, "Our cornflakes got smaller this year. It's because they're smashed to shreds." Because all there was left was crumbs. I smashed the living shit out of them trying to get the toy. There you are. Welcome to my household. David Retro Games played badly. Murray Walker came up with the Mars slogan, as I recall. Did he really? Did Murray Walker, the F1, come up with that? Do you know?
Well, it's a wonder.
Gobshite, we're talking to you here.
It's a wonder he had time to actually do that with the way he used to suck up to that, what was his name? Schumacher.
Oh, Christ, yeah, he did like Schumacher.
Love it. He'd bloody go to bed with him if he won.
Yeah, since the 70s. David Retro Games played badly. No, he didn't, but he did do the Trill one at Opal Fruits, made to make your mouth water. Oh, really? Yeah, I see. I'm learning stuff now. My mistake. Danny Jukes. Laurel and Hardy were a motion picture comedy team whose official filmography consists of 106 films released between 1921 and 1951. Together, they appeared in 34 silent shorts, 45 sound shorts. Yes. I've got the back of the box as well, Danny. There's no way you wrote all that out from memory. Come on, you tell me you didn't. All 27 full-length sound feature films. Christmas bikes, rally, chopper, or grifter.
Chopper.
I never had either because I had a rally bomber.
Chopper. I had a chopper.
My neighbour had a grifter, The neighbour over the road had a chopper. I managed to go on both of them. Loved the grip gear shift on the grifter. It was very convenient for the chopper to have it on the actual crossbar. But I always thought to myself, if I slid forward, that's going to ruin my prospects for when I'm in later life. So sort of like drifted away from the chopper a little bit. Both class bikes. Why don't they do class bikes anymore for kiddies and give them names like Chopper and Grifter? Do they? They might do, but I don't know. I'm not aware of it. But even as a teenager, the bike I had was a Rally Bomber, and it was a name. It was the Rally Bomber. It was built like a dam buster plane. It was a cow-handled, huge-wheeled, behemoth of a bike, and it was called the Bomber.
They're all these, they're like, they can lift it with a finger now. There's a couple of chaps at work. One of his bike is over £10,000 in money.
Yeah, I know.
They're very expensive now.
You get aerodynamics by NASA, isn't it? And all that sort of stuff. But what I'm talking about is if a kiddie now wants a bike and they say, I want a bike for Christmas, Dad.
I wouldn't have a
You used to give them by name. I want a Chopper or a Grifter. What do they do now? Because you go to Halfords, they're not named.
No,
I don't think they have a sticker on it that's got a name.
Would have the choppers?
Prove me wrong, but
I think there's a fella who does rally. Well, I don't know whether they're called rally choppers, but he does do choppers. I'm sure. It's still out there.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll go with Grifter. You went with Chopper, didn't you? So there we are. Two again. Differences of opinion. Thanks very much, Ox. I'm right. Now, gaming since the 70s. Ox, I had both and loved the Chopper so much more. Grifter, you bastards.
There you
Grifter
go.
was too darn heavy in the gears in the handle. Nah, no. It's not fair, I lose at all these things. Danny Jinx, I remember red Cadbury Muddy Box and blue ones. Yep, so do I. Games in the 70s, the only good ones in Quality Streets are the purple ones. We get Celebrations instead, as we like more of the flavors. Yeah, Celebrations and Heroes, I think, have taken over from Roses and Quality Street, And they did do a spate of doing just the purple ones, didn't they? They call it the big purple one. Yeah, I agree with you. Quality Street had that awful coffee flavor, sweet and nobody wanted. Yeah, my mum didn't like the coffee ones.
Well,
She doesn't like nut ones mostly. She likes soft centers, my mum. She likes toffee and caramel. She used to go for those pink fingers, the finger ones that were in the sort of gold wrapper with ends,
Oh yeah, I know the long thin toffee ones,
Yeah.
I like them, yeah.
Let's see game vlogs. I could take it or leave it with Rebels. The coffee flavor just made me gag. It's coconut, mate. Coconut that makes you gag. It's shit. I agree. Coffee was horrible as well. There was an even advert, wasn't there, where they had two people sitting opposite each other with a bag of Rebels. One of them, I think, was from like Vietnam or something, and he was going, coffee. He went like that. There was an advert on that. Yeah.
Was there something similar where somebody had a straw as well, sucking them up and then put them into somebody else's mouth? Do you remember that?
Maltesers.
Maltesers.
And I always used to have a joke about that. It said there may well only be 6 calories per Malteser, but the trouble is you put 300 of them in a bag, bastards. I used to say that all the time. Of course, I don't put 300 in a bag anymore, so the joke goes off after a while. But Denny jokes, I hate the coffee ones, yeah. Revels, I only ate the flat chocolate buttons, as the other ones could be that horrible coffee or orange. Yeah, see what I mean? That's the trouble. No, Revels is one of those things that unless you like every single one of the flavors that's in that bag, it was not a nice thing to buy. Because you'd be ending up chucking some certain ones away, or they'd be half bitten in the bag. Somebody would be picking up and saying, somebody's bitten half of this. That's what happens in our house. And we go, what sicko bit half of this and put it back in the bag?
a bit of carpet fur on them as well.
Jukes, Google it. Doug Scullery, only time we ever had revels was at the cinema, same with popcorn. And Oxer said Christmas number ones in the UK and US have taken a real retro feel this year. Yeah.
Oh, last Christmas, isn't it? Not last Christmas. Last Christmas, yeah.
Now we've caught up with comments and we haven't got to the TV and movies. Do you think we've covered that and then that'll be the end or what? Because I think it is a big. Oh, and the toys. We've got to do toys.
Yeah,
Should we do toys first? I want you to talk for a little bit, please, Denny, because I know that toys is a very, very big thing of your Discord, and I know that there's a heck of stuff that I'm pretty sure you're going to remember at Christmas that you want to talk about.
Toys, very selective, really, where toys are concerned. My main ones, I remember playing for forever and a day. I mean, what one you'll like, I had a Spider-Man car, because I remember having the Spider-Man figure when they first come out, and this car with like webbing on the back, and you could press this lever and it'd shoot forward and catch like his enemies and all. I seem to remember that. I played for hours with that Spider-Man.
I'll tell you one that a lot of people don't remember, but I think that there was a Spider-Man Ricochet. There was one that was like a cannon that you shot out of a cannon, and it was a car. Spider-Man. You fired it out, and it went along the track. So basically, it had a great big cannon start, and I'm pretty sure it was called Spider-Man Ricochet, actually.
Yeah.
But there was a Captain America one as well. But you carry on. Sorry. That's the only thing I can really remember about vehicles other than Dinky, and that did a truck for some reason. God knows why, because Spider-Man can't drive a truck.
I was really into the $6 Million Man as well. I had the $6 Million Man portable, I can't remember what it was called now, where you used to lie him down in it and recharge his bionics and all. God, I used to play for hours on that. I had the $6 Million Man, and I didn't get much more. My main ones were Star Wars. I had a Millennium Falcon, one of the originals, all the figures. I virtually collected the lot. I had all the figures, but I left them up in the loft, and they've all become brittle with the heat. And,
heat and cold.
I mean, to be honest,
in temperature.
They're completely worthless now, I suppose. But that's how I keep them in the wrappers. But when you got a kid, I mean, I was 77, it come out. I was 10 years old.
Yeah, what evil bastard gave somebody a toy in 1977 and said, keep that in the wrapper, don't play with it? What evil bastard does that to a 7-year-old who's watching Star Wars? So, here's a toy, but don't play with it.
Yeah. Put it away. Put it now. I had that much. It's just remembering what I had. So I had, I mean, I had some of those very first handheld computer games as well. Like the Invader one. I remember the very first Invader ones coming on the market.
Oh, like the sort of like a big. It had a sort of like, it looked like a sword, really. And a big sort of like, it was made of yellow or white, and it went up at an angle to the top, and it went out to a joystick at the bottom.
The joystick and a big button.
Yeah,
and, that was when it started kicking in. Besides all the board, I think I went through the A to Z board games. Sorry. Mousetrap, Buccaneer.
Did you have many people to play those with? Did you have a sister or a brother?
Yeah, I have a sister. Yeah,
I see, right.
Monopoly. Oh, used to love Monopoly. I could play for hours with Monopoly. And then it's all changed. We had a Binatone. I got bought a Binatone. And that was when it really all started to change. And it was through the love of my computer. It was the VIC-20. And that was 77, 1990. Yeah, it's about 5 years later I had the VIC-20. And then it become more and more computer games. I mean, I remember Mastermind. I had Mastermind. I used to love to play that. Do you remember the Mastermind board game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that.
You used to have, they had the little pegs, and you had a little window that you close over, and you had to, and you went along, and it was like a sort of a little pin that you used to go to say how many you got right in that line.
Other things, I mean, it wasn't just toys and games. It was like annuals, comics.
Yeah.
I used to love me comic. That my mum and dad used to buy me something called the Big Comic, and it was like a mix of Whoopi and I don't know the Dandy.
Yeah.
So they bought me three of those, and I managed to track down all the others because I collect annuals as well. I managed
Yeah,
to
you
track
do,
them.
yeah.
So I've got the lot now. So I've still got the memories and still got them that my mum and dad bought me. So which is it's a nice memory to always remember for Christmas because it always takes you back, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
general things like that. It's difficult to remember. I had War of the Daleks because I was
Yeah.
a Doctor Who. What else was there? I mean, I can't think offhand. I had a lot of Tonka toys as well, diggers and all that, which I've still got one upstairs. But besides that, I think I have got rid of quite a lot of my board games and all that. They've all gone now.
Yeah.
My sister's children had them off me. I had a fort. I mean, that was another toy I used to love to play with. Soldiers, dinosaurs.
Was it a branded fort though, or was it one of the generic army men in a tin type thing?
Well, actually, it was made by my dad. He worked in wood and metal, and they said they went to the shops because my mum and dad didn't have a lot of money at the time. And he said he looked at all the stuff in the shops and he said, "I can make something better than that," and he did, and it was fantastic, because that was just like pieces of cardboard round a couple of plastic.
Right, yeah.
So besides that, Dell, I can't really think offhand what else.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think I remember what that electronic toy was. Remember I was telling you about the big spaceship that had a big front and we used to tilt it and it used to make sounds when you were tilting it down, and when it was Starbird.
Starbird.
So anyway, this had a big, massive like ship at the back, but the front used to come off. You used to be able to press a button and the front would be off, and it would be a separate, like an eagle front, like a front. But it had a tilt switch in it, so when you went down, it used to make the noise. And then when you turned it up, you go, so as if you were going up. And it had a fire button, and and the lights would fire at the front and all of that. Yeah, it was called Starbird. But anyway, that neither here nor there. Very, very early on, I loved the Dinky and Corgi toys, so I was very big into those because they seemed to cater for me because it was the film and the TV stuff. So of course I wanted the DB. What was it? DB7 from Goldfinger, or was it DB5 or DB7? Anyway, I wanted the SPV from Captain Scarlet. I wanted the Thunderbird 2 because it was the big green one, and it would have another little Thunderbird in the body of it because you could knock the legs out. You could drop the middle down. So there was a choice between Thunderbird 1 or 2, and although you knew 1 was the fastest, best, coolest rocket, you wanted the second one because it had more in it.
Well,
it was as simple as that,
Thunderbird 1 never done anything.
He just got there quick and went, "Oh yeah, they are in trouble, aren't they?" And have to wait for everybody else to come along.
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do.
But Captain Scarlet was my fave, you see, because the SPV was a beautiful designed vehicle, had a lovely white bumper. You press the button and Captain Scarlet would come out the side. You push the front and a little missile would fire out the front. It had tracks at the back. I mean, this thing had everything, and I loved that. And then, of course, they did the Batmobile, from Corgi and everything, with a little blade that came out the front. Yeah. Apparently, it was the chopped trees that in half that might have come across the road. I was going, how many times did that happen during the year? You had to have that thing sticking out the front. Anyway, I did ask myself those silly sort of questions even then. But I used to love things like that because, when they later on and they did UFO and the Space 1999, the UFO interceptor would have a big, massive missile out the front. Yeah. And it had a great big pull handle that was underneath it. And you'd put a cap on the actual piece of metal between the metal and the front missile, and you'd press the button on the side and it would shoot the metal forward. The cap would explode and the missile would go flying. And this had caps with it as well, so it was like brilliant. And of course, the Space 1999 Eagle.
Oh,
there was different versions. Because I mean, again, it was like a made out of Meccano type thing, but it had the middle that you basically would drop off.
Yeah.
And you could open it up and you could see the the people or whatever it was inside it. Or if you're unlucky, you'd have the one with the radioactive little plastic radiation tubs that you'd use with a magnet and a piece of string.
Yeah.
And you'd be picking them up and winching them in. Lovely times, because if you couldn't afford those, your mum bought you the Airfix kits. So I'd I'd have a Captain Scarlet Destiny Angel interceptor vehicle to airfix together. You know, I could never make it like the bloody box, but it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
I even had the Joe 90 vehicle, which was a green weird thing, like a spaceship, but in a car design. The Joe 90, I forgot even know what the vehicle was called, because they didn't do a big rat plane set or anything like that, which was what which was what Joe 90 was, big rat, wasn't it? But moving away from dinky toys and stuff, I think the biggest year I had was when they started to bring electronic toys like Simon and Merlin to the masses. Merlin looked like a mobile phone, and all you played on it was noughts and crosses and stuff, but it had many different types of games, where Simon was just follow the pattern. And that got a bit hard after a while, so I went, no, I play back to Merlin. I can play noughts and crosses. I get lost after about 10. Follow the pattern for more than 10 and you can forget it. I ain't gonna get nowhere with it. And see, board games weren't that big in my family. They were, I knew of them and I played them at school because they'd have a big selection of game boards at school. But my sister didn't want to play things like Buckaroo and Jaws. But I had them, but she didn't want to play them. So there was very little use in having a board game. But I do remember things like Mastermind, because they were at school, kiddies' school. Mastermind was there. I mean, I can still see the front cover now, the bloke and the woman behind the chair standing up, you know, with the black box and all that sort of stuff. But to me, some of the biggest enjoyment I ever had was Evel Knievel.
I had that. I had Evel Knievel,
yeah, I had obviously the $6 Million Man, and I had the whole line of stuff. I didn't have Oscar Goldman, but what I mean is they did things like a crystal radio, which was like a backpack, which you opened the back of and you hooked it up to a metal fence, and you had a crystal radio set and all sorts of stuff. That was gorgeous. And Stretch Armstrong and the monster, which was green. There was a green monster version of Stretch Armstrong, you know, that you basically just pulled the bits, you know. I like the green monster more than Stretch Armstrong because he had a pattern in his sort of like skin that was sort of like raised, like a bumpy raisedness to it all. And like you say, with the electronic toys like Invader, I loved Astro Wars. Astro Wars was just king to me. I can still hear the sound now and playing it. It was absolutely brilliant. And then, of course, the next year, Astro Wars was superseded by a binocular version of an electronic game where you had the light. It was by Tomy, and it was more like little race games. And you know, again, the cars were in a set position, but the track was made to look like it was coming forward, and you needed the light from a light bulb or something to shine through so that you could see it. But I can still see me now, you know, using the left and right in this race game that I played from Tomy. So I've got so many memories. I mean, I could be here forever talking about them, but I think my childhood ended, you know, a little bit when the electronic stuff came along, because shortly afterwards I'd have my first ZX80 and ZX81 and VIC-20, Commodore 64, and those older toys became the old regime that, oh, you're not going to play on that child's toy, are you? When you can come around and play on my Atari 2600, or you can play on my VIC-20 and you loaded a cassette in and you played it on the screen and in color and all of that sort of stuff, compared to this little thing that only moved into 3 different positions. It was like, oh, that's kiddies stuff now. And yet every one of them now I'd love to have back. Just have it back. Just to do that. I couldn't afford a Scale Extric set. Couldn't afford a Hornby train set. they took up too much space. My mum would be forever turning around saying, put that stuff away, I've got to get the dinner out. And it was like assembling all of that bloody train track just for 5 minutes before your mum turned around and said, put that shit away now, we're going to have you serve your dinner on the table. So it was almost like a godsend that we never had them. But I do remember, but I thought the adverts looked lovely because later on Scale Extric had lights on the vehicles, you know, where they actually have real lights on the front of the vehicles so you could do night driving and all of that sort of stuff. So I was so excited. And if I went round a friend's house, that was brilliant as well, because they could assemble it and keep it assembled for a number of days because they probably had more room than we had. But I think I'll end it there with toys, because I think I've given a number of big ones there for people to discuss. And I dare say there's some comments now, so we have to go through all that, or after that, all reminiscing. And but I'm just going to end on this. I'm sorry, but I don't think kids these days have those types of childhoods anymore when it comes to toys. I can't think of a new 2000s toy that will be remembered as I will remember Buckaroo, Kaplunk, Jaws, Ricochet, Crossfire, yeah, Crossfire, Hungry Hippos, all of that sort of stuff. You are never going to have that child, and this is where I turn around and say, I am a miserable old git, but I will not change my ways in the fact that I can't see how you get excited these days about toys. I don't see anything to be excited about.
It's computer games or nothing, really.
Pretty much. I don't know what your feelings are. I've come across now as the grumpy old git with that. What do you feel about toys of the past and toys now, if you know anything, really?
Well, the top and bottom, the toys of the past are the toys of the past. I think we spoke about this on Doctor Who. It's not for us anymore. It's for a new audience.
Yeah.
And the kids of today, obviously, it's a computer. Well, computer or a phone, isn't it, really, that they spend hours looking into?
Phones, I think, is probably what they want now as a kiddie, isn't it?
Yeah, and
I want a new Apple iPhone. Yeah, well, I'd like a Ferrari. Live with disappointment.
I mean,
is what
really,
I'd say if I had a kid.
I mean, if you think about this, it's the interaction. Sometimes we'd always find somebody to play with back then, even if it was just a short period. Nowadays, I went out with my girlfriend the other day, and we're both sitting having a meal, talking to each other, and everybody else in the pub, that was all on the phones. I don't know why they even bothered to go out. You know what I mean? And that's where I think there's no interaction between people. They're talking to each other on phones instead of actually, you know, like they'd never be able to play a board game together because their attention span would be that low that they'd be bored within seconds. And it's just be grateful. Just be grateful that we've seen things like mechanical games, board games. We've had all that. And we have also seen the genesis of the computer industry. We've been there since the start, you know. We've got to be grateful for stuff like that, you know, and you've got to feel sorry for the young ones nowadays. They'll never experience that. They'll never experience going from, I don't know, a Binatone machine, then to a Spectrum, then to an Amiga, and seeing it grow up and get better and better. Because really, there's no difference between any machine now, whether it's a PlayStation or a PC.
No, they say they're developed differently and they have different central processing or graphic, but at the end of the day, they're built around the technology of a motherboard that's been in your PC since 1979. So,
but I mean, if you take you take a look at Starfield, it's no different on the PC to what it is on a PlayStation 5. All right, PC is always going to be that slightly bit better, but if you look with the naked eye, you're not going to see anything different.
Yeah.
So I think that's it for me. Interaction has gone.
Well, I've got a funny feeling about that is that they now write it for the console audience.
Yeah.
So I have to look at it like this. Back in the day, you wrote for the lowest denominator. Right? So if there was a Commodore 16 and a +4 as a perfect example, you would get more sales if you wrote it for the Commodore 16, because the Commodore 16 tape will play in the +4 machine. where if you just design something for the +4, you've alienated the whole audience. Commodore 16,
Yeah.
which is why Spectrum was so happy that they phased out the Spectrum 16K. Because as soon as everybody was on 48K, you're on a level playing field without alienating everybody. So all those tapes suddenly that said plays on a 16 and 48K Spectrum, you knew full well that it was like, oh, right, so I'm loading a 16K program, then am I into my 48K? So it's bound sure to be shit. Right? Because I mean, they've only written it in that small amount of RAM. You know, even we worked it out very quickly. And the same with the VIC-20, you know, when it said unexpanded RAM VIC-20, you knew full well, said, all right, I want the 16K Bonzo game over the 3.5K Wacky Waiters game. Because you knew full well you were going to get more enjoyment out of the other one.
Yeah, and I know that's real because I bought Wacky Waiters.
Yeah. So when it comes to consoles, even now, I think the PC, it may well be written on mostly PC architecture, but they're writing it for the consoles.
Yeah, yeah.
So the graphics will be slightly improved, but the structure of the game is stuck in its console nature, which is why I think it's bad, because they wrote it on a PC. You could go so much better and so much more in one direction.
Yeah.
But that's another story, and there'll be another story as well in regards to social media that you brought up. Because we've had that rant before where I turn around and say, I am a miserable old git, but I can't stand it when people are talking next to it. They're sitting right next to each other and they're basically talking to each other through Facebook to each other.
Yeah.
And they're sitting right next to each other and they're taking pictures of their bloody roast dinners and show, look what my wife's just cooked me. Yeah. And the wife turns back and said, I'm so happy you like it, honey. You can't wait for you to give you my pudding, and then shows a fucking picture of a jam roly-poly with a fucking... Bloody talk to each other. You're in the same fucking room.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? But I do think that the smartphone, has probably destroyed a little bit of the toy industry and the toy. I would say the innocence of children earlier. You know what I mean? I never thought that a computer would corrupt a little child, but a phone will.
But
you give a phone to a child and you are literally now they are being corrupted, because the next thing after they've got it is an account for Facebook and an account for Twitter and an account for everything. It's not about the phone. It's what they can do with talking when you're not allowed, so you're not allowed to go out, young man. You've been a real bad person out in that room. You're banned upstairs. Oh, all right. Got my phone anyway, you old woman. And you go upstairs, you'll be able to chat to them all over the phone. So where's the punishment in it? Because that's what they can do these days.
I'll guarantee you, though, Christmas morning, you won't see any kids out with bikes.
No.
You won't see anything like that.
Yeah.
But that's
we were gonna get to comments, weren't we? So I'm just I know I put a little bit of a rant and a moan on that, but this is supposed to be a Bah Humbug, and I have to say I am Bah Humbug when it comes to kiddies in this new era, because I don't think there's much enjoyment for them, because all we're doing is giving them phones.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
Where we had all this excitement of all this other stuff. Christ, I was excited to get a fighting fantasy paperback book with dice.
Yeah.
You know, turn to page 36. You went down this alleyway, you died. Turn to the page, go back to page 1. Sake. And I forgot to turn the page. So and continue from the last destiny point that I was going.
I'll be honest, that's another subject at school when they used to say turn to page such and such, turn to page such and such, and they call you something at the end of it.
Terrible. I had my fingers in about 6 parts of the book. I was like this guy. So if I'd have gone left, I'd be on that one. But if I'd have gone right, I'd be on that one. That one looks like the better one, right? So you'd let go of that one and you'd go, right, I'm on that one. But of course, 3 doors down, you'd be bloody dead. Anyway, so we'll carry on with some of these people's talking, because we've been talking quite a bit there. Going since the 70s. Click the thumbs up, guys. Oh, that'd be so nice if people do. But honestly, we're just having so much fun talking about Christmas shit. It's brilliant. I love it. I admit I'm a grumpy old git, but I will say this: I think I am in the right in regards to a lot of things in the past that are so much better than what we've got these days. Ian Hill, the Ramblings. The first Christmas in 1972, we had colour TV. The next door neighbours invited them around in the evening to watch it. We rented it from DER. Now, I don't remember DER, but we had Granada and we had multi-broadcast.
Yeah, Granada.
Do you remember any of these rentable places where you could get more, I think it was Rumblow's Granada.
Granada we had, yeah.
Yeah, multi-broadcast. They were great because we couldn't afford a colour television with a remote unless we rented. And if we wanted to upgrade to the latest one with the remote control without the wire, our first remote control we had was with a wire on it attached to it. Yeah. Then later on it would be, they've introduced teletext, Dad. We want a teletext TV. Go have a teletext TV. Go to multi-broadcast. See if we can. That'll cost me an extra £1 a month. So he'll turn around and say to me, "Can't really afford that extra £1 for that teletext." Like, oh, come on. And then eventually there'd be a point where we're not renting anymore, we're buying. But I remember those rental TVs because they gave you the choice of having a wooden surround or a black plastic one. My dad wanted the wooden one. I don't know why. It was just something about we had to have the wooden veneered one that goes around the outside that made it look like it was from the 50s.
Blimey, I remember them. Blimey.
Anyway, but that's another story again that I could talk a lot about, Ian, and thank you very much. Yes, colour TV. You got that then around the time that BBC Two went colour. Didn't they broadcast the first in colour on BBC Two, and it was based on a sporting event? Was it Wimbledon or tennis or no? It was snooker, wasn't it? They were the first people to do colour broadcasting on BBC Two, and then later on it then turned into BBC One, and Doctor Who was in colour on then, wasn't it, with John Pertwee? That's 1970, so it must have been 69 then. 69 must have been the first colour broadcast on BBC Two. Yeah, to look into that. I get my years confused, you see, so it must be 69. Yeah. So you had a colour TV in 72, so 3 years of black and white for you. Yeah. A lot more longer for a lot of other people that were hard up, I can tell you now, Ian. Evil Knievel stunt cycle broken on Christmas Day by my dad and uncle. Dad was sent out by my mother on Boxing Day to get me a new one. How did you break it? It must have been the bloody wind-up thing. Yeah. Because those hands. I mean, the only way you'd break the hands to that it used to grip the bike on, because you could flip him bloody all like 180 degrees and he wouldn't come off of that bike. So I can only imagine it must be the gears on the handle thing. Be interesting to know, because I think that was a common fault on that wind up launcher device. Doug Scullery, more Christmas quiz for Del and Denny. Oh, here we go. You're gonna have to do this one. What type of beer, not a brand, is mentioned in Band-Aids? Do they know it's Christmas? Right, you're gonna have to go through that one while I'm reading out the rest of the comments, because I'm not gonna get through the comments otherwise. Spirograph. I'd always get a spirograph kit for Christmas off someone. Yeah, that all felt. You remember them felt animals and all that sort of stuff that you'd pin on? I wanted Meccano, but I got Lego. I think it's just price difference. This sort of thing. My mum would hate to disappoint me, but if we can't afford, something like Meccano, it would be the cheaper Lego or Stickle Bricks, because it's almost the same but not, and plastic was cheaper than metal. Thinking like that. David's retro games played badly. Gotta go, chaps. Takeaways just turned up. You're working. Gets a takeaway as well. Bloody hell, he's in. I reckon he's on a cushy number, Denny. I'm sorry. I'm starting to get this feeling. He's on a cushy number, this guy. Have a great one, David. Have a Merry Christmas. If I don't speak to you before, and a Happy New Year to you. LFC Gamer reveals. Mustache now, fellas. Hope you all have a Bah Humbug. Have a Merry Christmas, whether you're Scrooge or not. Thank you so much. I must admit, it is getting a little bit later, isn't it? We've been going now 2 hours, 43 minutes, just so that you know. Yeah. LFC Gamer and Vlogs later, folks, and to you. Cy Robson, do you remember the Evil Knievel stunt bike toy? Yeah, we were just talking about that just now. Absolutely brilliant. Gaming since the 70s. I had a dinky interceptor and a mobile from UFO. Loved them. The mobile also fired a missile and turned the radar dish, and the roof spun round. That's right. So it was a great big tank, and they had a flat roof top, and it spun round on a little spindle. One side was the flat roof, but when you pressed it, it span round, and there'd be a gun at the top, and it fired those little missiles that you'd get with Captain Scarlet's SPV. It's absolutely brilliant. I had one of those. Loved it. Ox MB Games made some cracking stuff. Milton Bradley, wasn't it? Is that MB? Milton Bradley. Anyway, gaming since the 70s. We might be old farts, but man, we lived through the greatest times, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Absolutely wonderful. Stevie Paperboy. Hi, Delboy. Hi, Stevie. Long time no speak. Haven't seen you around for a while. Absolutely wonderful that you're here. Cy Robson. Matchbox, Race and Chase was a great toy. Cop car versus a Corvette Stingray from the ramp on the track. Yeah, I do remember that. That was a little bit later on for me. Matchbox, their racing tracks with the yellow that you had the tracks that you intersected with them. But they were great. I think the goodness about those is that you could stand on them and you wouldn't break the bloody sides, because it was that sort of rubberized type plastic, and it had the only stiff part of the plastic was the little wafer thin plastic that went between the two bits that you slotted together. Yeah. That was the only hard bit about them. So of course you could make them go round in circles and round each other and all sorts of stuff. They were great times. I could, like I said, Matchbox, I think I'd move probably away with them, probably because of the electronic toys, to be honest. I will say, once electronics toys came along, my need for going on a race with a little car, even the ones that you pulled back and then shot forward, because it was almost, it was using that gear mechanism where it was like a sprung. You know what I mean? Because I had so much of that stuff in my stocking. I had those Spider-Man characters that was on a spring that you had a plunger and you pushed it down on the spring, and because the plunger was, you had to wet it, it would stay there and it would slowly release itself and then spring up. I had no end of them. Great. Let's have a look. Ian Hill, the Ramblings. I wonder if kids are losing their imaginations with our toys we created in our own world.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
very much so. I wouldn't surprise me if actually a person IQ is higher or creative ability is higher from the 70s and 80s than they are in the millennials. It wouldn't surprise me if there was a case study on it.
That's true. Yeah, good point.
Be very difficult though, because you need to really be starting that study in the 70s at the time that, so you can actually see, are we getting more brainier?
But don't forget, this is a point I take from Mark, though, from 20th Century Gaming. Remember the very early games, the artwork was fantastic, but you have to take that imagination into the games, because most of the graphics were awful, really. And it's the same sort of
little blocks. That's all you had was a block. I mean, literally, we were amazed with Pong.
Yeah.
And all it was a block going up, down like that with a block.
It was amazing, though, at the time.
Well, absolutely brilliant, because all we had was the TV, and the TV was a broadcast signal. This you controlled.
Yeah.
And I was controlling this. Look at that. Amazing.
Mortroid. Hello, Mortroid.
Yeah, Mortroid. Better late than never. Of course it is, matey. We love to have you around. Ox, bloody Meccano. Always bruised my fingers with the stupid little spanners slipped off the nuts. Yeah. I have to say this, but it's just that so many of people that I knew had Meccano, and of course Meccano was at school, and they used to make big things like a Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
And you wanted to do that at home, but we couldn't afford it. Because, you'd have to have all of these long parts, string them together to make the circle, and then you'd have to do the string that would go around it to pull it on a pulley wheel type thing and all of that sort of stuff. So to my dad, it was like, you can make a plane out of Lego or stickle bricks.
I never had that trouble, because that's all I had, stickle bricks.
Yeah. Stickle bricks was the very weak cousin of Lego, because it was just like little bumps all sticking out and you interjoined them like this.
Yeah.
And it did look bloody awful.
But they'd be played for them for hours. You would
Play for hours. Yeah. Lego was, again, pricey. But my dad would probably be able to afford it over Meccano every time.
But then again, Lego was quite cheap when it first come out. It's only likely that it's expensive.
Yeah. Now that it's gone all technical.
Yeah.
I remember when Meccano did this car and it had suspension and all this sort of stuff and gears, and it was called their Technics range or whatever it was. Technics, I think it was what it was. And it was like, well, that's the whole, takes away the whole point of Lego. You were supposed to make a car out of bricks that were only made out of this shape. Now you've got gears and stuff. They're only made for that particular car. So isn't that cheating?
Well,
that's how I always looked at it as. But it was also my way of saying, can't afford it.
Yeah.
Ian Hill, the Ramblings do remember action transfers. You could create so many different scenes. Spent hours doing those. I do, but I think I had more fun making badges.
Yeah.
You used to make a pop-in badge. You used to have a system where you had you painted or whatever it was your design. You had the back of the badge, you had the front of the badge, you put it in a popper thing, you pushed it down, and it would enclose your artwork in it, and you had a pin badge, that was on there, and I used to remember having those.
I had loads of those for Christmas. I remember a General Custer scene where you could just put them on the actual scene itself. Yeah, I used to do it.
Yeah, I used to love action transfers because the way, this is again with Marvel and Spider-Man and all of that sort of stuff. And by the way, your annuals, had to totally agree. Loved all the annuals. They were done by Grand Dreams just as I was coming to the end. Early 80s ones, they all tended to be done by one publisher. It was Grand Dreams. And I remember the Spider-Man ones. I mean, the images on the front and everything. It was just absolutely gorgeous. It was always the same. You'd have the comic book as you normally have reprinted in color in the annual, and then you'd have a written story, like a story that you would read in a novel to read, which is really weird to read when you're used to the media of having a comic book panel. And Doctor Who was always the same, wasn't it? It was like reading like a little mini novel, like a Target book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But action transfers, you scribbled on one side and it would etch itself onto the play scene that you'd have, wasn't it? That was action transfers. They were great. Brilliant. Gaming since the 70s. Oh, man, I used to love those. Yeah. Brilliant. Maltroid, has anyone mentioned those awesome Micronaut toys? Man, it was a good Christmas when you got one of those. Micronaut, little robot type things with ball bearing joints and you took the arms off. Is that what Micronaut was?
I never had
mostly came from Japan, I think, and they had a comic range as well. But I do remember that they brought these robots around. You could buy them really big or you could have them really, really small. Mostly made out of like hard metal, die cast metal, but they had ball bearing joints and a magnet on the inside of the body so that when you closed it together, the arm would be able to have full movement because it was like a ball bearing joint.
I never had one of those.
I think that's what those were, and I had a couple of those, but again, came out at a time where it was late 70s, and you got to remember, in my 80s, I'd moved to things like ZX80s, 81s. I was moving into that era where a robot was a kiddies thing. That's why Big Track was big to me, because it was like programming a truck in an electrical way with a dumpster truck. And I always saw the advert where this bloke delivered his dad an apple. How he did this, I don't know. How he programmed Big Track to go all the way from the kitchen all the way to his dad, where he was sitting in a recliner with Big Track, which only had things like forward, left, right, back. And you had to program it to go forward 2 seconds by each press. He must have timed it. And this thing would go all the way to the side of the settee, and then the dumpster would drop the apple, and the dad would grab the apple out of there and start eating it. I'm going, how the bloody how'd you do that? I could be there for 5 years and never time that thing like that. It would be bashing into a door, and I'd have to move it back and start again. And Big Track, pain in the arse, Big Track. Anyway, going since the 70s. Christmas quiz. Which Hollywood movie did the classic White Christmas first appear in? That's Bing Crosby and Danny Steele. Holiday Inn. Am I right?
I don't know.
Pretty sure it is. You'll have to wait until we get an answer to that one. 20th century. Hello again. Hello, Mark. All right, Mark. Because I can't do Newcastle. Can you go on? You have a try. You're right. All right, mate. Go on.
All right, Mark.
Now you destroyed it like me. Owox. Owox. Get out.
Oh, Big Trucks, yeah.
Big Track was a cracking toy. But it was just so cool. Airfix models, hours of fun sticking your fingers together. Yeah, it was. Because you wouldn't even use super glue, but it was that clear glue with a nozzle-like end like you get with super glue. You put it on the end and you join it together. There'd always be a residue, and you'd always go, right, I've got to get that off because I can't have that white glue over the top of the plastic when I'm trying to paint, because you know that old discolor there where that is. And it'd be on your fingers, and you'd be biting the bloody glue off your fingers for ages because it would harden up. And that's the only way you could get it off. It's really tasted disgusting.
Them transfers you used to put on, you put them on wrong and you couldn't fetch them off to put them back right again.
Oh, yeah. I love those original orange track Hot Reel sets, not the Matchbox ones. Yeah. I do know there was a significant difference between the two. Gaming since the 70s. You're all right, Del. I am. We are getting close to nearly 3 hours, but I think we do have to cover Christmas TV, and then we have to leave it, I think.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go on and on and on, but
well, I think we ought to answer Doug's question about Scrooge.
We'll cover that as well. So we'll do Christmas TV and we'll answer the Scrooged question, I think. The Scrooge question. Right? Because it is a subject all by itself.
Right.
So you fire away with your memories of Christmas TV.
Well, I've already give you some. Like my favourites, obviously the Snowman, the Twilight Zone. And for Mark who's on now, Wurzel's A Cup of Tea and a Slice of Cake. It's a musical. There's now much real story about it, but it's a very uplifting episode, and it's a bit of fun, and it's just brilliant. Just puts you in the mood. One particular program that I do remember about Christmas, and it's one of those that puts the lump in your throat again. And it was called, well, by Noel Edmonds, called Christmas Presents. People who was disadvantaged. Do you remember the Christmas presents?
I think they were shown sort of like Christmas Day about 10 or 11 o'clock. And he'd go to a hospital or do a broadcast from somewhere.
Or somebody had done something special and he rewarded them. I thought it started earlier than this, but it says 1989 it first started. And
around about the time of Noel's house party and stuff.
Yeah, it got cancelled in 92 because there was a bomb threat, I believe.
Right.
Finished in 1999, and then Sky took over in 2007 and finished in 2012. But it was one of those programs. It was just a wonderful thing, you know. It was just set the scene again for a lovely Christmas morning, because it used to be on early morning on BBC, and that's when the BBC was at its best for me, the 80s, and that's certainly the way to put a program on. And by goodness, they really did pick the right people for these presents, and it was just a wonderful joy to watch every year. You know, you look forward to it every year. And
I don't think you could go wrong with Noel Edmonds, really, because of the length of time he did Swap Shop for, and of course Swap Shop needed an outside broadcast team, and that meant that you had a team of experts that went out with Keith Chegwin and Maggie Philbin doing stuff all around the country. So I think Noel Edmonds is probably the best anchorman you could have probably got at that period of time. And
I think the other thing is obviously the films to sitcoms that we used to watch in the 70s. That was always a staple of Christmas, Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. The same with the old episodes of Morecambe and Wise. It always used to be on. Things, and I mean, if you look at this year,
so film to sitcom. Do you mean sitcom to film or film to sitcom?
Sorry, sitcom to film, I meant.
Yeah, so you're talking Holiday on the Buses and Man About the House,
Man
George
About
and
the House.
Mildred,
That's
and
the one.
Rising Damp, and all of
Porridge
those.
and all that. They always used to be on very Christmassy films. And then you like today, you've got, I mean, Mrs. Brown's Boys. It started off all right, but then yeah, I know. Now I'm not saying it's good, mate. Far from it. But
Don't
then
start me.
now last year, yeah, it was only watched by 2.73 million. It's awful. I mean, it is awful. It's beyond. It's gone on too long. All right, it was all right to begin with. It's a bit of a laugh to begin with, but it's gone on too long. And
Yeah, he's actually. I think he's blackmailing the BBC, isn't he? That basically because he is like one of the highest rated comedians that has a Christmas special every year without doing anything during the year. They pay him almost a year's wage to do those free specials that are going to be on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, or Christmas Day and New Year's Day.
It can't be that good because there's only 2 million tuning to them, from 11
But
million.
the BBC have written a contract for about 5 years, which means that they have to match the money for inflation. And this is why BBC is so badly managed.
Yeah.
And why there's a 90 million deficit, even though they're putting the price up by a tenner next year.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Get rid of bloody some of the wages. Contracts like this.
I mean, for me, what's lost as well, you used to see all like the Ray Harryhausen films.
Yeah.
You don't see any of them. Mysterious Island, The Seventh Voyage of Simba, all the, the Valley of, is it Gwangi or some 1 million
Valley of the Gwangi, isn't it?
Yeah, 1 million years BC. You don't see anything like that now. And it's
must admit, the BBC did show Clash of the Titans last weekend.
Was it one in so many?
One. But I can't remember the last time Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger was on.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put down here, I mean, I say it's Christmas Scrooge, It's a Wonderful Life, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, At the Earth's Core.
Oh, Christ, yeah.
The Land That Time Forgot. The People.
Oh, with Doug McClure. Oh,
yeah. The People That Time Forgot. Journey to the Center of the Earth. Warlords of Atlantis.
First Men in the Moon.
Yeah. Fantastic Voyage. Forbidden Planet. Westworld. Hawk the Slayer. The Last Starfighter. Logan's Run. Meteor. Planet of the Apes. The Time Machine. Tron. When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth. Voice of the Bottom of the Sea. Seven Faces of Dr. Lowe.
Well, is this your Christmas list that you want from me?
Well, no, I'm just saying these are well, you can watch them if you want, mate, but I ain't got all day tomorrow, you know what I mean? But
is this the homework? Is this the homework that says now you got to watch all these that I've just read out?
Well, but these were staples of what I used to know.
I know what you're getting at.
So what the staples what I used to love Christmas, used to. That's what Christmas was all.
And you know what? I'm 100% behind all of that. I mean, like I said, you know what I buy. It's on my blog every week. But you also know I'm big on nostalgia in the past, and you know that I've bought the same as you. You'd show a picture and you say, "Look, here's the Doug McClure DVD set that's got Journey to the Center of the Earth and all of that sort of stuff." And there'd be 4 films, and then I go, "Oh, I didn't know that was out." And I go out and buy it. Just like, oh, wouldn't it be great if there was a Blu-ray of it? And we've talked about the Martian Chronicles, and I bought that, and it was like 70 quid I bought that for.
Yeah.
And it's very big and important to me that it doesn't matter how shit it looks. My mind can go back and fill in those blanks even now. Yeah. And go, it was the story, it was the music, it was... Even now, I'd love the music score to the Martian Chronicles.
Yeah.
Love it. Missed it by a hair's breadth on CD and vinyl 2 times.
It'll come round again.
It'll come round again. And, it's just one of those things where it's an electronic score that I just haven't got, and it annoys me.
I think the only thing really I'm upset about is they haven't released Warlords of Atlantis on Blu-ray yet. I can't see what the hold up is with that. I can't see what the hold up is because all the rest are out.
Yeah,
strange.
It is strange, and like I say, I mean, I'm totally with that. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
All of that sort of stuff. Sound of Music, even Wizard of Oz. And I just want to point out that at Christmas, this used to be a staple point in everybody's house, was the radio times, right? And I'll tell you now, there would be different colored pencils or pens around these going, we're going to be watching this. You know what I mean? And if you didn't match your mum and dad, you had to go upstairs and watch it on your portable in your bedroom if you had one.
Yeah.
But there was no chance.
Did you used to get the two though, radio times and TV times?
We did. We got both.
Yeah. So there was because there was that many things to watch. You used to have to circle. I bet you now. I bet there'd only be about 3 things I'd circle, guaranteed.
There's next to nothing in it. But I will tell you this: we are most blessed because Wizard of Oz is on Christmas Day. So Wizard of Oz is a staple point, and it is there. I didn't look that closely for the Sound of Music, but the Wizard of Oz is there. So there you are. But I'm just agreeing with you that there was a build up to Christmas, and it was full of the Flash Gordon's little series, segment series. There would be a film, and it would be something like Journey to the Center of the Earth, a million years BC. It would be a part of daytime TV that you'd move up. But I think the biggest period of me, why Christmas worked so well, is that they made Christmas for kids with kids TV, because there was a kids TV.
Yes.
There was an ITV with a kids section. There was a BBC One with a kids section. And there would be Christmas specials of all your favorite stuff. There's a kid, there'd be a kids grain chill. There'd be a kids clapperboard. There'd be a kids screen test. There'd be a kids magpie, etc., etc. And then later on, you'd be watching the stuff with the families. And there'd be the kids generation. There'd be not the kids generation, the Christmas generation game. The Christmas play your cards right. The Christmas 3-2-1. The Christmas... What I'm going on is on and on and on. And then that is Christmas, because you've incorporated the whole family and made the kids have their own little gang of Christmas, which they were watching in the younger periods. Now, I don't think they give a shit. Who wins? There used to be a big thing as well that you used to know was going on, but you never really talked about it, is who's going to win in the ratings, the BBC or ITV? Now it's which one gives a shit?
Yeah.
BBC or ITV in regards to the ratings, because everybody knows the ratings don't give a shit anymore. It doesn't really matter anymore. No. So where it was, Doctor Who won between the battle between ITV and BBC because it got 6 million viewers and ITV was showing this and only got 3 million. And this went on for the whole of the Christmas day, with the Queen's Message getting the top spot at 3:00. And BBC was where you'd watch it. Even though you could watch it on ITV, the BBC will be the one that actually was with any of that, even though it was on Channel 4. And I think Channel 5 had the alternative Queen's Message, I think, for a number of years, that was on at the same time at 3:00. Yeah. Now it's, of course, the King's Message and so forth. But TV, loved it. All of the stuff, the dramas, Box of Delights,
Moondial.
Like you mentioned, Moondial, which I said, I think... You never answered the question, but I did say Moondial. Didn't the BBC do a BBC production? Because you were talking about the books. And I said, you'll have to come back to me. But I'm pretty sure Moondial was a BBC production. And I think I was right. But I mentioned that in my blog. I'm pretty sure from memory.
The Phoenix and the Fog, it was another big one as well that I remember.
Oh, right. Because I think I remember I turned around and said, I'm not quite sure about that one, but I know Moondial and I know the other one that was on the right of that as well, which was the Box of Delights. But we had such fun, because there was so much. And some people would say probably an unhealthy amount, because it made you watch the TV and you weren't going outside. But I think you've got a worse time now with mobile phones and all of that sort of stuff. To get a kid to go out now must be like pulling teeth and going to the dentist, if you can get a dentist. I know these days. I suppose that's the other thing you've got to start bringing into things with that. Or if you can afford a dentist. How's that one? If you can find one, can you afford it?
Yeah,
might as well just pull them out with your pair of pliers. But yeah, I want you to sum it up at the end, but I'm gonna round this up by turning around and saying I had the best of times all the way up till I think I was about 17. 2 years after going to work, in regards to, it was still like me being a child. Waking up, and Christmas was still me being a child at 17 as it was when I was 13. I still wanted to get up. I couldn't wait what was under the tree. I was looking forward to the tape game that I'd be loading in, all of that sort of stuff. It became less so older, and I think the reason for that is a little bit about piracy, because at the end of the day, I was pirating as much as I was buying them, and therefore,
But didn't we all?
with such selection, it wasn't so exciting that I'd just only got Ghostbusters that year or not on tape, because I knew in 1987 or whatever it was, I'd have 30 discs given to me through the whole of December. And then the one game that might have been bought for me, I'd have been going, well, I could have had that as a copy, to be quite honest, a week ago. So it wasn't really the exciting thing anymore. So I'm pretty sure that when I'm dating things, I'm about right. I'm thinking about when I was 17, so I'd be thinking around the mid-late 80s for me as the excitement leaving. And Christmas to me died 1998 when I moved out of the house, moved to Manchester, and was by myself. Because then there was no mum and dad at Christmas. I was catering by myself. I was doing my own washing, cleaning, everything, and making friends up in the Northwest was not the easiest of things. And I was more alone than anything. In 7 years of my life, I only had my parents turn up for Christmas 3 times out of 7. So, and work in Manchester made me work you could only have every Christmas off alternate. So if I worked one Christmas Eve, it meant I couldn't work the other Christmas Eve. And it had to really, even though going to see my parents would be an hour, 130 odd mile drive.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Somebody who lived down the street, they could still have their Christmas Eve off and they'd be gone. And they only lived 5 miles away. There was no precedence just because you lived further away that you'd be able to get Christmas off. So it was a hard time.
Yeah.
So I'm able, I think, to date mine. And I'm going to leave it there. And I'm not going to say that that's made me a miserable git from 1998. I'm just saying Christmas changed drastically to the point where I'm at now, where I dread it, hate it. Bah humbug. It's not like it was before. From the moment I moved to Manchester. So we're talking 25, 6 years of crap Christmases. And that has a toll on you. Because that means half. If you're in your 50s, that's half of your life of crap Christmases and another half of okay-ish to great ones. And the balance is getting worse. So over to you, Denny, to end this with the summing up of Christmas. And
I've got to say, for me, it's been completely different. I haven't seen a degradation in Christmas as it was until I was in my late 40s, if I was honest. It's been the last 10 years I've noticed how Christmas has just took a back seat year after year after year after year until we've come to this year, and even my parents have noticed how bad it's got. As I said, now, I mean, you've got to look now at carols. They haven't even made any attempt with the town to put decorations up. The shops have been appalling. There's no Christmas fair or food. There's literally nothing. And there's no decorations. I've got my own ideas as to why. I don't offend anybody, so I'll keep that to myself. I've got an idea why it is. I've got an idea.
I'm agreeing with you as well, because there is a political spectrum to this as well. Yeah. And I don't think you can avoid it.
But it just, Christmas Day to me is like a day in July now. It's just that sentiment isn't there, the feeling isn't there. But it's just nice to be with your family, So
I think what you're saying is that it's a build up to nothing now.
It is. It's a build up to what's the word now? Anticlimax. It's an anticlimax, really. There's nothing to. I mean, even when it was getting bad, like last year, the crowds was there. They were still buying things up. You couldn't. I mean, it's part of the thing you moan about Christmas. I can't. It's took me ages to get through, but in deep inside, you love it because you know
Yeah.
it's all about Christmas. You know what I mean? But this year, you know, I wouldn't say the final nails in it, but it ain't far off. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's such a shame. But what the way I think, I had all them lovely memories from before. I am a very nostalgic person, and I love them memories. So if I haven't got it now, I can still remember them times.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. That's how I look at
Yeah.
it.
And that's the only thing I can hope for as I get older and older and older. I hope my brain is able to keep that memory, you know, because if that goes, what have I got? So to wrap up, really, I'm sort of like the same with you. It's a build up to nothing. For you, it must be worse. I know a little bit more about you, and I have to go that your girlfriend is such an unselfish person on what she does on Christmas, you know, and I don't think you'll be upset with me turning around and saying she works in a sort of like a soup kitchen type thing where she's feeding the homeless on Christmas Day all day.
It's through the church or something that.
Yeah, it's through the church.
So
Yeah,
it's for old age pensioners and people who are less fortunate. So,
and
she
so
yeah.
so I'm going to say the biggest compliment that you can have is that, and I'm just going to go through the comments and then we're going to end this. So 20th Century Games says, I miss fishnet stockings with spangles.
Yeah, I remember.
Right.
I remember now what he's trying to say, it was a stocking. Remember, it was like a stocking, but it's like got fishnet.
No, I'm just thinking of Mark in fishnet stockings now with spangles. That's right.
I remember that.
Gaming since the 70s turns around and says, I'll buy you some if you can wear them in the next stream.
Well, shave your legs first, that whatever you do.
And he's like, cheers, Steve. Mars Bar Marathon, Milky Way, Maltesers, and opal fruits in them too. That's right, because it was like a see-through fishnet.
Yeah,
like I say.
Blimey, that's a memory for you.
Yeah. For me, sitting down after Christmas dinner to watch Morecambe and Wise Christmas special is a must. We haven't really touched too much upon Morecambe and Wise 2, Ron, is how important they were to us. But I think everybody knows that's what we're talking about. And who knows, we'll probably do this one again next year at the same sort of time, and we'll be bringing those up. I don't think anything's going to change. Going since the 70s, does anyone actually like Mrs. Brown's Boys? I saw it once, it was utter shite. There must be some people, but like you say, the numbers have dwindled. I get the point, which is do a carry-on type comedy with innuendo, which you don't get innuendo on in anything else because it's really, really bad to do. But it's so coarse, so slap bang in your face and funny at times. It misses the sparkle of what a carry-on film was. You know what I mean? Even the carry-on Christmases, which were probably deemed the lower brother of the carry-on films. You know, what you're doing this on TV for, it's utter shite. It's like a Benny Hill Christmas special. If you actually watch it now, I'd prefer to watch that than Mrs. Brown Boys put the bloody rerun of the carry-on Christmases on. I'll tell you what, I'd watch that more than the Mrs. Brown Boys. I'll tell you that now. If there was a fight between the two. Sai then turns around and says, Escape to Victory was on Channel 5 this afternoon. That's right, it was. I missed it because that was one of those ones that I was saying it was on at the same time as all of these. Mark says too many options all year round, so nothing feels special anymore. I think the biggest amount of selection is like piracy, where we were talking earlier on, saying when you got round to being absolutely everything just handed to you on a plate, the selection then ruined the whole experience. You can't turn around and say that isn't a truth. In the ramblings, I was just wondering, did Parkinson do Christmas specials? I'm sure he did. Yes, he did. He did do Christmas specials and film even the film 99, film 79, film, Barry Norman's film. He did a Christmas and New Year end for the movie industry. He definitely did a New Year's Day. Let's look at the history of what we watched during 1979, 1980, 1981. And I used to look forward to those because it was a retrospective of all the films that I'd seen in that year. So that was great. Do you remember those?
I don't know.
Barry Norman doing film reviews on BBC.
Oh yeah, I remember. I thought he was on about he done something at the end. I remember his film.
And then he did an end of year retrospective.
Well, I probably caught some, but he wasn't my favourite, that Barry Norman, because he always used to diss the films I liked.
So. Oh yeah. Well, anyway, I looked forward to those because that was a special, and that was done at Christmas time. And he always had a column, didn't he, in the Radio Times of the films to watch over Christmas. And he used to then turn around and say, "This is on at 3:30, and I recommend you watch this," and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, Barry Norman was a big thing for me. Parkinson was as well, because I loved interviews.
Oh,
the reason I liked interviews is because they would interview people that were in the shows that I liked. You know, so you'd have, you know, where it was a special one when Jimmy Stewart would be on, but they'd also have sports people like Muhammad Ali. I thought it'd never have on. But then, you know, there'd be other ones that were, you know, like Sid James. And I'd be just so interested because Sid James was like, oh, wouldn't it be great if he was my dad? You know, I was thinking along those lines because he was like an old man, you know, but he fun and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, what's that? COVID enslavement. Christmas is good for watching Laurel and Hardy. Yeah.
Watching any day.
I mean, I must admit, I need to find the Laurel and Hardy cartoons. I think that's the only thing I'm really missing now. Once I've got the big, you know, now I've got the films on DVD and all of the cities. They did a Hanna-Barbera did, I think, the Laurel and Hardy cartoons during the 60s. I think some of them were voiced by Stan, but definitely none by Ollie. That was done by a different voice actor, if I remember rightly. Going since the 70s. Thank you both very much. I've enjoyed every second of this. It was so enjoyable. Thanks so much for taking me back to better years. Absolutely my pleasure. And thanks for joining us. At the end of the day, the darts was the best thing on, and I had that on in the background for you. So there you are. So you've missed bugger all. Ox, I won't be watching the King's Peach. The King's Peach.
He's got his servants for that.
No, he got LOL. Ox. So it was a Merry Christmas to you both and to all in the chat. Thank you so much as well. Martroid, thanks for an amazing year of blogs, Del. Fucking loved each and every one, mate. Cheers to Denny. More Llamasoft playthroughs, please. Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you so much, Martroid. Brilliant. Loved every second of it as well. Even this year with all the blogs, I've had highs, I've had lows. It's been a path and a journey, and one that's recorded. I wouldn't normally have been able to have done it. All I'd have had is my diary notes. So it's been a good thing, all of this. And I've met some great friends through YouTube. So that's brilliant. I like to give my bird a good stuffing. Wouldn't we all? I haven't got a bird to stuff. There you are. Are you Rod Hull? No, I'm still alive. Bloody hell, that's right. Fell off a bloody. You weren't fixing an aerial, were you? Cheers, lads. All the best. Halfway through my second bottle of Aldi cider, off to play the Commodore 64. Goodbye, Matt. Thank you so much for all your support as well for both of us. That's brilliant. If you lads were in the Christmas Carol, what characters would you be? And that brings us. There's one comment after this, so you might as well bring up the Scrooge bit. And I'm going to let you go first, as always. So carry on, because I've got a number of things to say about Christmas Carol, because it always keeps coming up.
Simple answer for me. You're never going to beat Alistair Sims. Right. Black and white film. I've always said a black and white film has an atmosphere a colour one never has. And now the colorised it. No, that ain't for me. And I think Alistair Sims goes through Scrooge brilliant in all his different mannerisms, for when he's horrible to when he's a nice character. And again, he's somebody who can get emotion out of you as well. He can actually follow the character through the film. And that's what I love about that film. It's brilliantly shot. I can't remember. What year was that now that was shot?
50s, 50
53.
early 53 somewhere
Yeah.
down there. Yeah,
I
possibly.
mean, you look at that. Some of the special effects in that were wonderful,
Oh
and
yeah.
that bloke carries that film. He really does. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of the other characters were brilliant as well. But oh, brilliant! It's the best Christmas film for me ever.
Yeah.
Christmas Carol, Scrooge, or also known as Scrooge. So yeah, it's always be Alistair Sims for me for that
Yeah.
particular reason.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think a lot of people will agree that the Christmas Carol, which is best, argument will go on and on and on and on. And for many, many years, there wouldn't be any disagreement from me. It's just there are some certain films that come along that have a sort of like a sentiment to it that probably alter your mind, where you'd actually have to agree and say, yeah, that was my favorite, but because this went on and I saw this with my friend and he's dead now and all of this, I'll always think of this one now being the better film. It's newer, it's better, and all of that sort of stuff. There was all of those sorts of arguments that come along. So from my point of view, there is no doubting the quality of the 1953 Alistair Sims Scrooged. But to me, it is superseded by a more modern one, and that is the Bill Murray Scrooged. It was on. I don't think of Christmas starting unless that's actually shown and broadcast on TV. And it's still, or out of all of them, it's still not my favorite Christmas film because It's a Wonderful Life is always my top film. It's longer, it tells the same sort of story, but it always reminds me. And if anybody ever does ask, and I know so much about suicide because of the probation service, if you ever want to know what your self-worth is, watch It's a Wonderful Life. It will show you that this what would be happen if you weren't around. Think of the future. What is life going to be like if you weren't around? And if you weren't around, all these things are going to happen. Like you're not going to be able to save this person or eat with this person or watch this with this person. It is, you are better being around than you are not around. And as that means that there is always something worth living for. And you've got to keep hold of that. And to set it then at Christmas means that it's a message that goes out to everybody every year from the moment it came out. Because I think A Christmas Carol's got an equally good message. But I don't think you could better Francis Ford Coppola's message of suicide is terrible. Don't do it. Your life is the greatest gift that's been given to you is life, saying it in Band-Aid. So don't squander that life. So, but I'm moving away. There are many Scrooge's favorite ones, and to me, it's Alistair Sims's Scrooge is the second one for me. Bill Murray's is the first one, and the Muppets is the third one. Just so happens.
I've never watched
that. And here we are, based on Marley. The Muppets themselves, because we said we're going to call ourselves the Old Gits, and I've got a picture of the Old Gits from Muppets in our picture. And they were Marley's ghosts from off screen.
I'll have to look on Disney, see if it's on Disney, and watch that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it is around, and so I'm going to just end it by saying, I think it's really difficult, probably, to ruin Scrooge as a story.
Yeah.
It's just there are certain ones that have impeccable quality, and Alistair Sims is a cracking one. Like I say, for me, I did watch Scrooge with my friend Martin, who died 3 years ago. We had such a laugh, and then getting pissed after we came out of the cinema with that. We were just laughing so hard because it even opens up with the $6 million man at the beginning, helping Santa in his grotto from the SAS squad that's trying to stop them delivering presents. So from the very beginning, we were both $6 million men, kiddie, toys and stuff. From the very, very beginning, this film was just there. And then it gave me a new Christmas song Put a Little Love in Your Heart with, which is Annie Lennox and Al Green. Gave me a tune as well I play each year. So what can you say? A film that incorporates all the toys, everything about TV, everything that is about Scrooge, and a new Christmas song for you to listen to. So that's why I'm saying about the Alistair Sims one, and just get shuffled to one bit. But if you were to talk about the two films, the quality is always in the Alistair Sims one. You know, from a directional point of view, it's just tells the story so brilliantly. And that's how I'm going to end that one.
Well, just to answer Alan's question, I would be Bob Cratchit if I was a character, because I'm a family man, and I always want to try to do the best for my family.
And I'll be the turkey.
How big are you though? I could do with the turkey.
I'm a big bugger, and I'd be really good at taste it and give it to the little. I've forgotten his name now. The bloody little boy, fucking hell, Tiny Tim.
Yeah. Well,
so there you are. I'll be the turkey.
Well, I don't want none of your Parsons nows, that's for sure.
Yeah, there you go. But I'm just happy that I had a purpose, and that was to feed the many. So there you go. Right, Ian Hill, The Ramblings. I remember getting those sweet cigarettes. You couldn't get them now, because it taught kids how to smoke. But yeah, they were long white plastic with a little red end, didn't they? They had a little red dot at the end.
I love
that. Merry Christmas to all. Thank you, Arcs. It says sometimes you get little picture cards. Doctor Who did it with the Ice Lords. I think it was Zoom. It did. I used to get all the little cards from. I think there was a Dracula lolly that had jelly in the middle.
Oh
that had a card. Cards were funny because they were in bubblegum mostly. I remember Bazooka Joe as a little character comic story that was in every piece of bubblegum. So that was brilliant. COVID's enslavement, love Alistair Sims, Scrooge, or anything else. He did, yeah. You can't miss the quality. I mean, was he a Shakespearean actor, Alistair Sims? Did he work for the Royal Shakespeare Company?
I don't know.
Study there for a short period of time.
A bit of
Ian Hill on the TV Ramblers on eBay. I've seen these cards. Yeah, well, they are. I've got trading cards of Marvel, but they were specifically made as trading cards that you bought in packets. They didn't come in the actual food. You used to get them in crisps as well for a time. They used to be in a little cellophane bag, a clear cellophane bag, like you'd find salt in salt and
shake.
Ready salted crisps, shaky crisps. You used to get a little card in certain crisps. I think they were Golden Wonder. I'm not quite sure. Could have been KP.
Well, I've got some of the Doctor Who badges, those metal badges out of the Weetabix, I think those. I've still got them in the loft.
Well, he's talking about a little card, but the card came in a clear cellophane that you opened up so that the grease didn't get to the card. I thought it was actually ingenious, but I could never get the whole range, because I'll tell you what, I'd be quite honest, I was big anyway, but Jesus Christ, I'd been the size of a fucking tank. I was doing all the crisps, because you know me, I just told you I smashed open all the bloody breakfast cereals to get to the toy and then. So what I'd do with a packet of crisps. Stupid. Ian Hill going for hundreds of pounds. Yeah. They are. Because like cricket cards, you know, old drawn pictures of your old cricket heroes from the war, they're worth a fortune. COVID enslavement. What's the Mommy Stewart Christmas film? Mommy Stewart. Do you mean Patrick Stewart's? He did a Christmas Carol, didn't he?
Yeah, that wasn't too good.
No, I know it was better on stage. He did an actual one where he just sat on a chair and talked the whole thing in a sort of like a very personal Christmas message thing. Jimmy Stewart, you meant? Oh, what's the Jimmy Stewart Christmas film? Yeah, it's A Wonderful Life, matey. That's it. It's A Wonderful Life. And great entertainment night, lads. All the best. And thank you very much. A nice one to end on is my mate Mainmeister. I'm going to give Denny the benefit of ending us all out, other than I'm going to say salute at the end. I'm just going to quickly say there is a blog tomorrow. I'll be recording it in the morning. I'll try to get it out as best as possible. I've had a great time this Christmas. There will be one before New Year as well. So you'll have a New Year's message from me. But every single one of you, you've made my year. I can't say I'm never the best at expressing how I'm actually feeling, but I don't think if you were around, I'd have got possibly through the year as well as I had. And I think that's probably the best way for me to end this, other than have a great Christmas. You deserve so much time off and relaxing with loved ones. And even if the Christmas is as miserable as I think I'm going to have, remember those good times. You'll always have those good times. They're never going to go away. They might just cheer you up and get you through it. It's not too long now till a new year, and then we can start all again, and let's hope for a better Christmas the following year. And with that, I'm going to do my salute at the end, but I'm going to hand it over to my co-partner, who equally, oh my God, how would I have got through the year without him? Back over to Denny to sign us all off.
Yeah, well, bless you, Della. The sentiment's exactly the same to you. It's been a wonderful year. It's nice getting to know you more this year and getting to know everybody else. And I hope in 2024 I can visit everybody else's YouTube stations. It has been quite a difficult year for me.
Yeah.
This year, for one thing or another. I haven't been able to watch everything. I haven't been able to get very much content out. Certain areas are causing me a bit of a problem in my personal life, but I can't say it now better than what you did, Del, just. But I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a peaceful New Year. All the best, and let's kick it off in style for 2024 and get watching content, because we're all on each other's journey and exploration. So best of luck to you all, and best wishes for Christmas and the New Year.
Couldn't have said it better, but I'm actually going to end this stream with something that Ox has just said. So I'm just going to read out these last two comments. Good stream. Thanks for doing this from Ian. Thank you so much, Ian. Great stream. Good night, lads, from Ox. He's just reminded me of a line from something that I watched as a youth in my on a favorite comedy duo, which we're going to end on now. And you don't even, I'm just going to say the one line and you'll know exactly what I want you to say. Okay. So I'm going to just say to my friend Denny here, so it's good night from him.
And it's good night from me.
Good night.